Pasadena, California, KTLA's Emmy-winning coverage of the Tournament of Roses Parade. This 109th parade is hosted by Bob Eubanks and Stephanie Edwards. And now, from the start of the parade at the corner of Orange Grove and Colorado, here are Stephanie and Bob.
We're watching a helicopter standing in midair.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Good morning. Bob Eubanks, Stephanie Edwards. We're 5 stories above Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena, starting the way America starts the new year. This, the 109th Tournament of Roses Parade.
And I think we've been here almost all of those. Anyway. It is going to be a magnificent day. We have a great parade for you. There are some 21 bands. We've got 54 of the most incredible floats you've ever seen in your life. And there are 26 equestrian units. So we have the best view of the best seat in the house.
And you know something I've never said before? You can check our website at www.ktla.com or on America Online at keyword KTLA for even more in-depth information on this year's parade. The Rose Parade history, chats throughout the day, while on the website even you can vote on the quality of each float as it goes by. It's too much of a good thing.
I can hardly believe it. You know, parades have meant many things to civilizations throughout history, and they've evolved into events of celebration. And every year, 1 million people come to Pasadena from all over the world to watch the Rose Parade. They celebrate the new year, and they're just having some fun.
So it seems appropriate that the theme of the parade this year is having fun. It is chosen to highlight the enjoyable, uplifting experiences that make life what it is, and to convey good humor and lightheartedness that we all need in our lives. This was the president's choice this year.
And it takes us a long time to get ready for this parade. We've prepared some statistics that we'd like to share with you on the parade before it starts, which gives us an indication of what Americans are doing to have fun.
Listen to this. In 1997, we attended movies 1,240,000,000 times.
You kidding me?
We own 16.5 million recreational boats, and Americans eat approximately 16 pounds of ice cream per person every year.
And you have 3,300 maple bars. 42 million children and adults play softball. 24 million, here I am, are golfers. And there are more than 22 million tennis players in the United States.
Now, in the last year, 24 million people attended classical musical performances. Well, much more. But in the meantime, we're attending this performance, and it's spectacular.
Here we go. The 109th Tournament of Roses Parade is about to begin, and here's our first band.
And you're going to be seeing, of course, Girl and Boy Scouts both in the parade, showing us not only the theme of the parade, but some other notifications as we go. We're hearing the strains now of the band that started playing at 7:55 for dignitaries on Green Street. This is the Los Angeles Unified All-District High School Honor Band. 120 trumpets, 70 trombones, 30 drums, 20 sousaphones, 50 mellophones, and 15 baritone horns. The directors had these kids marching 100 miles during the past 2 months to condition themselves for this 5.5-mile route today.
Look at that beautiful view, boy.
I think it's our most perfect parade weather of all the years we've been together. This is the 26th consecutive appearance in the Rose Parade of this LA Unified All-District High School Honor Band, and they are the cream of the crop.
Those of you watching from back east, it's really about 31 degrees here in Southern California. We've had 4 earthquakes today.
Don't come.
Don't come. No, it's a beautiful day.
You're hearing special music arranged for the Havin' Fun theme here today.
Isn't that a great theme?
Yes. And a wonderful Grand Marshal.
I was going to say, what a perfect choice for Grand Marshal.
We look forward to seeing her ride down here. Oh, now that was cute. Did you see the little trumpeter waving? He's camera savvy. 107 members in this band. They go on forever.
Good band. And as we look up Colorado Boulevard to the west, we see coming around the corner 2 Girl Scouts leading the animation trophy flag, which means right behind it will be the winner of the animation trophy, which is self-explanatory. It's best display of animation.
Our first float in the parade is an award winner today.
Isn't that nice, though? And here it comes.
You know, these weigh so much, and this is a perfect example. This first float weighs so many thousands of pounds, and look at how light it
But
looks.
look at this. The first float of this year's parade pays tribute to the United States Space Program. 20th Century Insurance Company looks toward the future with their entry, Fantastic Journey, and it really is. Now, this roving spacecraft weighs more than 50,000 pounds. To trigger the animation, a 3,000-pound pump is exerting 32 gallons of oil per minute into a hydraulic cylinder. Can you believe I know all of that?
Yes. Then the helicopter lands on top of the spacecraft from a height of 40 feet. The helicopter and the lifting arm weigh more than 8,000 pounds.
Wow.
Not counting the fill-up. Each of the 14 oversized wheels are 5.5 feet tall.
There's some very famous people on this list.
Well, yes, riding in the space vehicle is Dr. Edward Gibson, who traveled 34.5 million miles in space aboard Skylab 4 in 1974. Captain Bruce McCandless is here. He achieved the first untethered free flight in space on the Challenger in 1984. Dr. Norman Thagard, the first American on board the Mir in 1995.
And he's glad to be back.
And Donna Shirley, manager of the Mars exploration program. We heard her voice a lot during that marvelous trip. Well, this is just spectacular.
And our congratulations to 20th Century Insurance because they won the animation for Best Display of Animation in this 109th Tournament of Roses Parade.
And they're all covered in flowers, you know. Silver leaf, eucalyptus leaves. The main body of the craft is in yellow, gold, bronze, and cream straw flower petals. Petals individually placed on this massive thing.
Isn't that amazing? If you've never watched this parade before, you must know that everything must be covered with a natural substance, flowers or whatever. So, I mean, it just takes hours and thousands of people to put them all together for your pleasure this morning.
Well,
pretty nice.
It's working.
Okay,
Beautiful.
Here's our first equestrian group. This is the U.S. Marine Corps Mounted Color Guard from the Marine Corps Logistics Base in Barstow, California. What makes this group so unusual is they're riding what used to be wild Mustang horses from the Bureau of Land Management Adopt a Horse program. And I don't know if you've read the book, The Man Who Listens to Horses, but a fellow by the name of Monty Roberts wrote the book. It's the most incredible book if you're a horse lover because he discovered by watching these wild Mustang horses that horses actually talk to each other. They actually communicate with each other. And I will tell you, the book, it's called The Man Who Listens to Horses, will change your life about your feeling toward horses and really about people. And we thank the U.S. Marine Corps Mounted Color Guard. They come to us all the way from Barstow, California.
The first non-commissioned officer is leading this band, by the way, in 25 years, Master Sergeant Stephen Schweitzer. They're playing Semper Fidelis, Storm King, and the Marines Hymn on this 5.5-mile ride. These are 115 members from several Marine Corps stations.
And they represent El Toro, California.
Look at this. Now, over the centuries, kites have been used to talk to the gods, presumably, to announce births, even catch fish. Well, Flying Kites is the name of this entry from United Airlines. Renditions representing continents served by United Airlines. The Aztec-style kite on the front is composed of details from Mayan, Aztec, and Inca designs. Gives the general look of an Aztec sun god there. Red and white carnation petals, blue status, bring us the coloring on the box kite. That represents North America.
Now, the central figure, which represents Asia, is a combination of traditional Chinese and Japanese kite designs. Representing Europe is a coat of arms crafted with carnation and orchid petals, wine mums, and silver leaf. And the kangaroo kite, of course, represents Australia, and it's covered with orange lentils. By the way, kites are believed to have originated in China and are named after a graceful hawk called the kite bird.
Centuries-old tradition, beautifully displayed here. Phoenix decorated. The float designer is Dave Pittman with the floral designer Scott Lamb. Who's this?
Oh, these are the medieval time people.
This is a regal Andalusian stallion. 15 of them. They come from the medieval times dinner and tournament in Buena Park, and it is here, you know, that the family history of a man named Count of Perlada is recreated every night. And they eat with their fingers and have a whale of a good time.
Well, those are beautiful horses, too. Well, for their 101st entry in the Rose Parade, the city of Los Angeles shows us how business and pleasure combine on their float called Amazing Fun in L.A. Los Angeles is famous for innovations, and depicted on the float are some of the first that originated here. The personal watercraft was the creation of Clay Jacobson in 1965, who wanted to combine his love of the ocean and motorcycling.
Hughes Electronics in El Segundo introduced the first direct broadcast satellite television service. Rockwell International's Space and Information Systems developed the first space shuttle.
And riding on the surfboard is Dot Richardson. Now, Dot is the shortstop for the 1996 Olympic gold medal women's softball team. She's also surfing the net. What does that mean, surfing the net?
She's down there in front holding a computer in her hand, yeah.
In the 1960s, UCLA was the first to connect a host computer to what would later become known as the Internet. Boy, we've done a lot of things here.
Yes, Professor Leonard Kleinrock was in charge of that project at UCLA. Now, LA, of course, is famous for the motion picture industry, so you see more than 20 films from Gone with the Wind to Beverly Hills Cop. They are portrayed in the black and white floralgraphs that you see there. Do you know, by the way, that the Hot Fudge Sundae was also created here by C.C. Brown? Hot
Fudge Sundae, the flat adjustable curler for ladies. I could goes on and on. We've done so many things in Southern California.
LA is the place.
Yes, it is.
Phoenix Decorating, Michelle Lofthouse and Scott Lamb brought us gorgeous float. And now,
yes,
this is our first time in the parade.
Boy, I bet they're glad to be here, because it was cold in Kansas yesterday. All the way from Derby, Kansas, 262 members strong. This is the Derby High School Panther Marching Band. Volleyball for 24 hours and held a bakery auction at their spring concert to raise money to get here. Their director has been with them for 30 years. Glenn Gehring, what a way to celebrate. If I had to play volleyball for 24 hours, I think I'd stay in Derby, Kansas. My goodness.
The Panther Marching Band in its first Rose Parade, and do we ever welcome them.
Band, you know?
Yes, excellent. Now, these also are first-time entrants. Texas Ladies Aside is what they call themselves. They're the only side-saddle drill team in the world, and they're riding one of the smoothest horses in the world, Bob tells me.
Oh, yeah.
The Peruvian Paso, led by Corey Hewitt in 1995, the Texas Ladies Aside were designated the official equestrian drill team of Texas.
It just doesn't look comfortable to me. You need to ride side saddle like that. These are very comfortable horses.
Well, you have to be a girl to understand.
I guess so.
This is the only group outside Peru ever invited to perform at the National Peruvian Horse Show in Lima, Peru. And they're from 15 to 60 years of age. That's just the horses. No. It's the ladies. The ladies.
Well, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, look at her.
She is 6-time Emmy Award winner, has given us many hours of comedy from the stage, the screen, and television. One of the most versatile entertainers in show business. She is this year's Grand Marshal, and listen to the audience. This is the lovely Carol Burnett.
Happy New Year, Stephanie and Bob. This is a great way to start the new year. I'd like to wish you and all of your viewers at KTLA the best New Year's ever. And remember to have fun. It's easy.
She is a perfect Grand Marshal for this year's parade, having fun. I've heard never a negative word about this wonderful woman.
And I will tell you, I won't go into the whole story. This lady actually saved Jim Neighbor's life.
So you said.
Yeah, you know, Jim was, they said, hey, it's not going to happen. And she said, no way. And she saved his life.
Very dear friends.
Lovely.
Now look at this. It's the Extraordinaire Award winner for the most spectacular entry, including floats over 55 feet in length. The Macarena.
Can you do the Macarena?
No, I can't, and certainly not with 24
I'm going to stand
hands.
up and do it right now.
Okay, Sunkist Growers give it a try here with a float by the name of Macarena, 55 feet long. It's a caterpillar animated by electric hydraulic control valves, which are triggered by switches, which in turn make the arms move, you see. All of this activated by a keyboard manned inside the float by one very busy person.
You're not
The first four hands are moving in time with the music, but then the other turning are, in all directions. The creature's body is covered with 5,000 orange carnations, 22,000 marigolds, and it's accented with lemons and limes.
Isn't this wonderful?
The
Look at this.
Macarena, of course, first came to public attention at the '92 Olympics.
You can't do it?
Well, I don't think I've ever tried.
Stand up and try.
Okay.
No, sit down. Take it back.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's much fun to look at. I just looked up and watched it live here for a moment, rather than looking at the monitor.
Isn't
My
it wonderful,
gosh, the way the sun catches all that yellow is magnificent.
When God is your lighting director, you know you have a winner, boy.
22,000 orange large marigolds.
Oh, that's wonderful. Congratulations to people at Phoenix Decorating and Sunkist. Most spectacular entry, including floats over 55 feet in length.
Art Aguirre designed it, floral director Scott Lamb.
And led by their group marshal, Benny Martinez, these Mexican cowboys known as charros are riding in their 18th Tournament of Roses parade. And Benny Martinez and his family are not only horsemen and talented ropers, they're also incredible humanitarians. Their second annual Kids Rodeo at their Golden Spur Ranch in Paris, California was a huge success. Over 500 kids participated. We're glad they're riding in our parade.
That's great. Now, this is the Volunteers Trophy winner for Best Floral Design of the Parade theme for floats under 35 feet in length. The Downey Rose Float Association decided one way to have fun in Southern California is to watch the local wildlife. They're doing a little inline skating. This is adorable. It's an entirely self-built float, built by Downey volunteers, that means, designed and flowered by Jason Red Fox. He started as a 9-year-old volunteer, and he is still involved in the parade today.
Well, 500 to 800 people volunteer each year to decorate the Downey float, including Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. And it's just, you took all of my dialogue.
No, I did not. You go right ahead.
I'm out.
Okay, well, then I'll continue. Miss Downey, Roberta Comage, is riding on the float with her 4 princesses, Maria Cavasas, Candace McIsaac, Melissa Treat, and Elizabeth Vega. The faces on the bunnies are covered with pink and white carnation petals, blue iris, uva, and pampas grass. And so on.
And here from the Pasadena City College.
Oh, the Herald Trumpets, yes. Each playing a solo part. Nobody duplicates anybody. 9 trumpets, 1 snare, and a bass drum.
The selection of the Queen and Royal Court is based on poise, personality, public speaking ability, scholastic achievement, and community involvement. With us this morning are the ladies selected from nearly 700 participants and their beautiful Queen, Purdy Tran. Congratulations.
Happy New Year. We hope you're enjoying the 109th Tournament of Roses. I'm Queen Purdy Tran from Arcadia, and this is my Royal Court.
Princess Grace Huang from San Marino.
Princess Amber Ross from Pasadena.
Princess Kate Sargent from La Cañada.
Princess Kristen Neer from San Marino.
Princess Leslie Morrell from Pasadena.
And Princess Lauren Poindexter from La Cañada.
A very
so
happy
young.
New Year. That's what they are,
Grief,
you know.
They all look so young.
Oh, happy New Year, ladies.
Beautiful Queen and her court. Okay.
Now, Edison International.
This is the Pasadena City College
yes.
Tournament of Roses Band.
You say it, Bob.
I did it. Okay, this band consists of 200 musicians, 44 colored guard members, 9 banner carriers, trumpeters, and just a really good band. And they're right here from Pasadena City College in our host city of Pasadena.
Mom. This is the band, along with the Herald Trumpets, who made a movie, participated in a film, 1996 it was, called Jingle All the Way. And the money they were paid to be a band in that movie is what paid for the uniforms they're wearing this year.
Which, by the way, talking about Pasadena, this is a good time to mention that following the parade, the public is invited to view the Rose Parade floats on Washington and Sierra Boulevards. That's adjacent to Pasadena High School. Admission is just $2, and it's free for children under the age of 3. So general public viewing will take place today from 1:30 until 3:30, and on Friday and Saturday from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. if you want to see these wonderful floats up close.
Great. James Arnwine, the director of this band that is the official leader of all bands here at the parade.
And as you know, our parade goes north on Orange Grove Boulevard, then it goes east on Colorado to Sierra Madre Boulevard, and then north on Sierra Madre Boulevard to Paloma Street. It's 5.5 miles long. And as far as we're concerned, it is the best parade in the world. And we're very proud to be here with KTLA Channel 5.
Somewhere in the world, at every moment of every year, somebody is watching a tape or a film of the Tournament of Roses parade.
Well, that makes me nervous.
Well, I should say.
Here's the Governor's Trophy, best depiction of life in California.
Oh, Edison International shows us what a little ingenuity can do. The float is called Our Science Project, and it looks like two future rocket scientists have created quite a robot. The computer they've rigged up at the front of the float seems to be controlling the spinning wheels and moving gadgets on the robot, whose name is Bob.
What, the robot's name is Bob or
yes,
the dog?
Bob the dog is the robot.
Figures.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, anyway, undecorated photovoltaic, how do you say that?
Photovoltaic,
Yeah, undecorated photovoltaic or solar cells on the robot's back are supplying power to a camera that's located in the robot's head. And the camera is currently transferring images to a computer, which then uses cellular phones to download the images onto the internet, which can then be seen on Edison's webpage.
You may think Bob is reading that, but no, he knew that.
Whatever happened to cowboys?
By the way, Tim Estes, the float builder, got special permission to not decorate the photovoltaic solar cells.
Well, I think so.
Yeah, they're bare. This is the 7th year Edison has chosen a float entirely powered by electricity. 108 batteries drive the float. Another 42 power the animation, sound, steering, and brakes. The batteries are all exercised prior to the parade, which means they're fully charged, then they're drained, then they're recharged for maximum capacity.
Sounds like me. Good grief.
White chrysanthemums and shiny silver leaf protea, accents of red, hot pink, and magenta carnations.
Boy, it's so good.
It's a great float.
Congratulations for winning the Governor's Trophy, though. Now, these are the Welsh ponies, and this is the Welsh Dragons. The reason they're called the Welsh Dragons is because on the flag of Wales, there's an actual dragon. These are wonderful horses, and some of them are called cobs, the ones that are a little bit bigger, a little bit stouter. But the Welsh ponies, and riding in this group, by the way, is Ron Wexler, who heads the Equine Science program at Pierce College. Do you know you can still get a degree in Equine Science at Pierce College?
That's what happened to the Cowboys.
Yeah. And they have a wonderful farm out there at Pierce College. If you ever want to take your family out to see it, and I just hope they keep up with their agricultural program out there, because progress is not always a building full of computers. Sometimes it's a pasture with cows.
Dirt and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, rafting on the Mississippi River became popular before the 1830s, but the mighty Mississippi has never seen a raft quite like this one. This is the Lions Club International presenting Floatin' Along. Cute.
Isn't that cute? Yeah. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain was the inspiration for the float design. It offers an appropriate setting to honor the free spirit of childhood, and all of the children riding are from Lions Club supported youth organizations.
Also riding is Lions Club International President Judge Howard Patterson Jr., his wife Brenda. They are coincidentally from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. You see the weeping willow trees, so beautifully done here. Stylized versions created with pepper seed, Spanish moss, gold, and lavender roses. Exquisite. And the Lions Club float every year is decorated by members of the Almonte Lions Youth Exchange Club.
Do you know the Mississippi River was named by the Indians? It was named because it means big water. Mississippi means big water, and that is big water.
You know where it starts, of course.
No.
In Minnesota.
Well, you know where it ends up.
Many good things start. Where does it end up, sir?
In the Gulf of Mexico.
Well, I should say
How many
so.
miles?
Many.
2,340. Just ask the big guy.
5,280 feet in a mile.
I am the king of parades.
Now, what else is happening here?
By the way, we want to thank our friends at Southern California Toyota and at Surge for helping to make today's telecast possible.
This is the Granada High School Marching Band from Granada, Mississippi, following the Mississippi Float. You see how it works out. They are rated Grand Champion or Best in Class in 7 states. Listen to them. They have thrilled audiences all across the country.
Eubank, Stephanie Edwards, the 109th Tournament of Roses Parade, Pasadena, California. Happy New Year, everybody.
This band has played in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, Disney World's Magic Kingdom. There are 250 members here from Granada High School in Granada, Mississippi. Krista Mims, head drum major. Dr. David Danier, director.
Our director, Rob Fiedler, just to put the words of fear into our left ear, he said, our next float is still on Orange Grove Boulevard.
But you know, better that than too fast.
Oh, hey, it's going by just fine.
Yeah, we're delighted.
Want to hear some cool stuff?
Sure.
All right. It takes about 20 million blossoms to decorate all 54 floats in the parade. The average float uses between 20,000 and 80,000 blossoms. And you know, when they put, this is something at home you might be interested in, when they put each and every rose goes into a vial, and it's always half water and half 7-Up. Not diet 7-Up, half regular 7-Up, and that preserves them. So when you buy Mom a bouquet of roses, well, stick them in water and put a little 7-Up in there, the last one.
Yes. Here's a little rose enjoying the parade.
Sweetheart. About 1 million people line the boulevard, and of course a lot of people from Washington State, a lot of people from the University of Michigan here, because later on in the Rose Bowl, they're going to fight it out.
And the rain has stayed away. Now around the corner is coming this magnificent work. The animation designer Chris Lofthouse is the brother of Michelle Lofthouse, who designed the float. And if Jules Verne were to design a carnival ride, it might look like this. The American Honda Motor Company has come up with that kind of idea on a float entitled Fun Zone.
And this is a really a very interesting float because 99% of this float hovers above the ground.
Wow.
And it makes contact with the ground in only 3 places, so there was no room for a conventional tractor drive and a drive shaft. Therefore, it's hydraulically driven, and high-pressure oil is used in the wheels. Like I know what that means.
Yeah. The wheels are placed in a triangular configuration down there. The front wheel steers, and the rear wheels drive the float. There are actually 3 separate carnival rides here. 2 of them are electronically animated, and 1 is animated with the use of hydraulics. You know, the audience sitting here doesn't know any of this.
Right.
They're just absorbing the beauty of it all.
Aren't you glad you're home?
Wow.
6 separate animation systems are used on the float in addition to the system that is powering the float down Colorado Boulevard. And this may be the sign of the times, by the way, for amusement park rides in the next century, which isn't that far away.
They're cheering, I believe.
Well, you know why they're cheering.
For a few cheerleaders coming on down the road.
There's some University of Michigan people down below us. Here they are, too.
John Williams music ahead of them.
Okay, this is the band from the University of Michigan, the Wolverines from Ann Arbor, Michigan, and they're excited because, as we mentioned before, they're going to the Rose Bowl.
51,000 students there. I think most of them are here.
Representing the Big Ten this year.
As soon as you can hear the music on this float.
Oh, look at there.
Oh, that's beautiful, the Rose Bowl.
Our KTLA camera crew, they always outdo everybody because look at that beautiful shot of the Rose Bowl. Ready for the big game today, Washington State and the University of Michigan. It's going to be a good game, too.
Do we understand that they're going to be putting new seats in the Rose Bowl?
I did not know that.
I think
you're the queen of parades. I know nothing about the Rose Bowl.
It's the rumor I heard. The Big Ten Conference Band and cheerleaders, it's their 16th trip to the Rose Bowl.
And before the band gets here, tell me that story about the song The Victors.
It is that piece written by a University of Michigan student, Louis L. Bell, 100 years ago, to celebrate their last-minute victory over the University of Chicago at a football game. John Philip Sousa called The Victors, which you're hearing now, the greatest college march ever written. Let's listen to the Michigan band play.
Stephanie gets as turned on with the bands as I get with the horses, and we both get excited over the float, so this is a great day for us.
And do you know the drum major of this band,
No, I don't
Ramon
know.
Johnson, Sr., grew up in Pasadena and went to Downey High School.
How would I know that?
He's coming home. This is great. There he is, Ramon Johnson, a Pasadena boy.
Well, a great number of our 1 million people on Colorado Boulevard are from Ann Arbor, Michigan, or from Michigan, here to watch the Rose Bowl game with their team.
I hear a lot of people singing. Composed by Louis L. Bell 100 years ago, J.P. Sousa himself said it was the greatest college marching song he'd ever heard. You know, this is only one of two bands who's going to have to play at halftime.
That's right.
They not only march the 5.5 miles, but they've got a whole full day ahead of them.
They're not going to need anything to go to sleep tonight.
Oh, they're fine. I love the way they hold their trombones.
Love the way anybody holds a trombone.
They are so good.
Being an ex-trombone player as you are.
This has always been one of the supreme bands in the country.
Okay, here's the winner of the most humorous or most amusing. The Humor Trophy winner goes to Countrywide Home Loans. And all the roots of rock and roll are not prehistoric. Countrywide Home Loans shows us that even the dinosaurs will come to life to play those popular rhythms. Their float is entitled Rock Concert.
The performers in this roving rock concert are called the Dynamics, also known as the Friends of Extinction. Taking center stage, standing 28 feet tall, is the gyrating Elvis T-Rex.
Look at him.
Yeah, you can tell it's a Southern California band because some are wearing sunglasses.
On sax is Ray Newwave. And that's Stevie Stegosaurus.
Yes.
He does a fine job on the electric piano, by the way. Look at him.
And, of course, no rock band would be complete without a drum player. Where is this, the drum player? I see him. We're coming around to the, I don't see him yet.
He's right in front.
There he is.
Yes, there he is.
I see him. Wonderful tie.
Rock and roll.
And many of the Countrywide employees and families assisted in decorating the float. It's their 6th entry in the parade, and it won the Humor Trophy for most amusing.
All that rock and roll stuff started with the Rock Around the Clock, Bill Haley and the Comets, way back in 1955. Yeah. Then Elvis came along, and
Bob was around at that point.
I was a baby. Rotary International honors the 50th anniversary of its ambassadorial scholarship program with its entry titled Bringing the World Together. Famous landmarks from around the world are brought together on this float.
Over 30,000 students have studied abroad as Rotary scholars since the program's inception in 1947. Now, the Spanish bell tower represents all the Spanish-speaking countries of the world. Radish seeds were used for the red brick on the tower, brown rice for the stucco.
And the Washington Monument represents the United States. More than 1 million people visit the monument in Washington, D.C. each year. The Shinto shrine represents all of the Asian countries of the world. Shinto is a native religion of Japan focusing on nature, and the shrines are homes for divine spirits. And representing Europe on this float is the famous Eiffel Tower, which was built in 1889 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the French Revolution. Rotary International really did a nice job.
2 women brought us that float from Charisma, Susie Garcia and the floral director Betty Lou Baker. Very stately. We're really happy that today's telecast has been made possible by the good folks at Lucky and at Pacific Bell.
I knew that'd make you happy. Here's an interesting group. These are the American Icelandic horses. This horse has been a purebred for thousands of years, still very rare here in the United States. In fact, once an Icelandic horse leaves Iceland, they are not allowed to return. This is to ensure that the breed remains absolutely pure in its native country. They're a nice horse, too.
Beautiful.
Thanks to Mehdi Dresser for bringing the Icelandics.
The first toy trains were manufactured in the 1830s, made of tin. This is from Sierra Madre, the Rose Float Association there, called All Aboard. Darling train noise there.
The engine on the train has been covered with yellow cushion mums and eucalyptus leaves. The face on the engine was accomplished with the use of blue status, white cornmeal, and dried cranberry powder.
Riding the train down Colorado is the Sierra Madre group of princesses. The float is a real community project here. The seniors at Sierra Madre Senior Center ironed the corn husks for the roof of the engine, donated the coffee grounds to cover the railroad ties.
Well, every year, local banks, garden clubs, and residents donate poinsettia plants for use on the float, and you can see them on the smokestack, by the way. 20 cars participated in a soapbox derby this year as a fundraiser for the Sierra Madre float. Sierra Madre is a wonderful city here in the San Gabriel Valley.
The University High School Cougar Band and Guard from Orlando, Florida.
Bob Eubanks and Stephanie Edwards, the 109th Tournament of Roses Parade. We welcome you and wish you and yours a very happy, happy New Year. 1998 has arrived, and you're watching and listening to the University High School Cougar Band from Orlando, Florida.
Here. There are 356 members in this band. It's impossible to hear each other from front to back. The band stretches over a block.
I never thought of that. How do they?
They don't. They have to depend entirely upon what's happening in front of them.
Now, are the trombones always in front in the marching band?
Otherwise they'll goose somebody in front.
Oh, I never thought of that.
You gotta put the bones out there in front.
And then the tubas, where do they belong?
They can stand wherever they want. Now,
they're big guys.
This is a band that was founded 8 years ago, and it's already collected 7 straight superior ratings in the Florida Marching Festival.
Do all bands have the same lineup, like trombones, trumpets, tubas, and such?
To some great extent. You see the winds are always in the back. Saxophones, then you've got your clarinets, then you got your piccolos and stuff like that. Oh, and Ron, our sound man, just said that he sees somebody playing a guitar.
Yeah, it's probably a bass guitar, huh?
I guess probably.
Right there.
Yeah.
Pretty
this
interesting.
band goes on forever. Just
from Orlando,
forever.
Florida. They are the University High School Cougar Band and Guard.
Now, the president of the Tournament of Roses, the fellow who chooses the theme for this year, each year, this is a man who has faithfully attended every Rose Parade and Rose Bowl game since 1947. He joined the Tournament of Roses Association in '65. He has served on 9 committees and chaired 6 of them. He's responsible for picking this year's theme. The president of the Tournament of Roses, Gary Dorn.
On behalf of the Pasadena Tournament of Roses Association, I would like to wish you and your viewers a wonderful new year, and we hope you're having fun.
Thank you, President Dorn. We wish you and everyone at the tournament a very happy and healthy in '98.
And all the white suits you see down on the boulevard, the men and women who wear the white suits, all volunteer work. And you know, Gary has been in the group since, what, 1965? It has taken him this long to become president, and they serve hours and hours to make sure that this parade and the Rose Bowl game go off as smooth, and they do a magnificent job. They really do.
Look at this trophy winner.
The winner of the past president's trophy photography, most innovative use of both floral and non-floral materials. Hanging out in the sun on a warm branch is probably a reptile's idea of having fun. Reptile Wonderland is the name of this float, and it's from the United States Postal Service. Now, lizards first appeared 200 million years ago and evolved alongside the dinosaurs. There are more than 3,000 species of lizards, and they make up the largest group of reptiles.
I'm overwhelmed by this float.
Ask me a question.
Yeah, iguanas love to sun themselves in trees. The largest lizards in the Western Hemisphere, distinctive crest running down the center of their back, you see. This is the basilisk lizard portrayed on this float as well. They have broad soles on their feet, scales on their toes, enabling them to run across the surface of the water on their hind legs.
Wow.
You've seen that on the National Geographic, you know.
Yeah.
The ring-tailed gecko, which is sometimes what I call Bob. Throughout the world, in tropical to temperate climates, you find them everywhere. They cannot blink. Instead, they have a transparent substance protecting their eyes. And I must say, Jim Hine, the floral director, has caught the eyes of reptiles magnificently in this float.
Beautiful.
Unique floral work on the float consisting of heliconia, ginger, cattleya orchids, Fiesta Parade floats. Raul Rodriguez got the past president's trophy for the most innovative use of both floral and non-floral materials.
Just a wonderful, wonderful
The
float.
U.S.
Congratulations
Postal
to U.S.
Service.
Postal Service, yes. This group of equestrians, they represent Roy Rogers and Dale Evans. A salute to Roy Rogers and Dale Evans. And that first group of riders right there, you will see in the red shirt, that's Dusty Rogers, that's Roy Rogers' son, and then Cheryl Rogers, Roy and Dale's oldest daughter, and also Gabby Hayes look-alike there. There's a Hopalong Cassidy look-alike and everything. There's a movement afoot, by the way, to nominate Roy Rogers and Dale Evans for honorary Academy Awards. I think it would be a magnificent idea. There are no two people in the world that are better humanitarians, that have done more for the world and for show business. Roy and Dale did over 80 movies, and I just think it would be magnificent. That's Cheryl Rogers right there. She's Roy and Dale's. And you see a bunch of lookalikes in this group. And it's all put together to honor two very wonderful people, Roy Rogers and Dale Evans. There's Gabby Hayes.
Did they not celebrate an anniversary yesterday?
Last night they celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. We want to wish them congratulations.
Bless them.
Their grandson Dustin is supposed to be in the group too. I'm not sure that he is or not.
Now, in the 30s and 40s, big bands led by Benny Goodman, Glenn Miller, Artie Shaw, Duke Ellington, they played swing music, and the jitterbug, of course, was rocking the dance floor.
That I can do.
Ruby's Restaurants bring us a piece of this Americana with their float called Summer Fun.
The float depicts a 1940s-style diner overlooking the ocean with hamburger and malt proudly displayed as a popular food of the day. And the automobile now on the front of the float is a 1946 Plymouth Coupe, which underwent a little alteration. It used to be by float builder Fiesta Parades, because it used to be a coupe, but it's now a convertible.
Riding in the car is Ruby, the restaurant's namesake. She is the mother of co-founder David Kavanaugh, who's also riding, along with Cassandra Cosmides, the daughter of co-founder Ralph Cosmides.
And the dancers will be doing the Charleston, the Lindy, the Jitterbug down this 5.5-mile parade route this morning, working off that hamburger and malt. By the way, the Jitterbug was popular right around when Stephanie was born in the 1930s and also in the 40s, and was considered wild and uninhibited when it first appeared. Can you imagine what our grandparents would have thought about slam dancing?
Yeah. Do you know, by the way, that both of the gals here who are dancing work at Ruby's. One in Yorba Linda. There are two servers on the float who work at Ruby's in the South Coast Plaza, and Camilla Rowe works at Ruby's in Pasadena. So these are real Ruby's folks.
Well, we congratulate the folks at Ruby's Restaurants for entertaining us with their wonderful float and taking us back to the 1930s and 40s and reminding us of Benny Goodman, Glenn Miller, Artie Shaw, Duke Ellington, and a whole bunch of magnificent people.
And people still love to dance at Bob. Even kids are learning the jitterbug again. It never really leaves us for very long, and I, for one, am very happy about this.
But you can't do the Macarena.
No, actually, the jitterbug is just more up my alley, I think. What's all this about? Oh, somebody did a marvelous rope trick. That's what it was, right down in front of the grandstands here. This float was brought to us by Fiesta Parade Floats, Raul Rodriguez and Jim Hind again.
Kind of a fun float.
Lots of yellow chrysanthemums and straw flower petals on that car body. Now you can hear the music. 5.5 miles of dance in the jitterbug. I think they've kind of been working up to it.
My butt would be jittered by then.
Yeah, truly. And the original Ruby is riding in that car. How cute.
This is the 109th Tournament of Roses parade. And you know that, Steph, the parade, as many people know, will never be held on Sunday.
Yes.
Because way back in about 1902, the Tournament of Roses Association promised the churches here on Colorado Boulevard that they would not have the parade on Sunday because when the parade goes by, it would scare the horses that were tied out in front. So consequently,
the church, yeah.
Yeah, every 7 years or so, you and I get New Year's Day off.
Yeah, we approve of that. Now, this is the Mililani High School Trojan Marching Band playing the Hilo March and Hawaii 5-0 theme from Mililani, Hawaii. Gosh, chills. You might have just heard me whisper that we could turn off the heaters.
I'm cold.
Are you? Oh, wow.
Oh, just tease.
Oh, it's wonderful. This band was last here in 1986. So this is a return visit for the first time, and of course, most of these participants were barely born in '86, so it's their first experience here. Aloha print shirts, traditional Hawaiian floral print wrap, tea leaf skirts, the uli uli. Do you know what the uli uli is?
No, what's an uli uli?
It's a feathered gourd, and of course the haku woven leis.
You ask me things like that to make me appear stupid.
No, I wouldn't have known it except for my friend Kimo Smith, who knows everything Hawaiian. Now, how do you say Happy New Year in one of these languages? Oh. He's been rehearsing this all morning, ladies and gentlemen, and now when I ask him, he does.
It's wait till the riders come down from Hawaii, and I'll tell you how to say Happy New Year. Our researcher Diane Rumbaugh just put it to cardiac arrest.
I think I kind of remember one of the readings. Oh,
here's the winner of the sweepstakes trophy. Most beautiful entry. One of our greatest gifts to the future lies in the protection of our precious rainforest. Home to more than half of the world's plant and animal species. To remind us of this, by the way, Rainbird Sprinkler Company brings us their beautiful entry entitled Adventures in the Rainforest. Now, this float depicts remnants of an ancient civilization. The ruins are styled after those in the Angkor National Park in Cambodia. This is a beautiful float.
My gosh. Well, it won the sweepstakes for most beautiful entry, and we know why. There's a float designer, Raul Rodriguez, riding with his macaw, Roxy, and Martha Estes, the float builder's co-owner, accompanying him on this wonderful jungle excursion. 10,000 pounds of water are used to create the 5 waterfalls on this float.
Now, the figure near the front of the float is a Ganesha, the Hindu god, which removes obstacles and is worshipped before an important enterprise. Birds of paradise are native to New Guinea and Australia and are known for their magnificent plumage. Look at this. It's no wonder it won the most beautiful entry. It is just beautiful.
This might be the best combination between Raul Rodriguez and Jim Hind yet, the floral designer, director, Jim Hind. Just magnificent. The Rainbird Sprinkler Company brings us the most beautiful entry, the sweepstakes trophy winner this year, Adventures in the Rainforest. Magnificent. And Bob and I went through the float barns, 4 days ago, you and I?
Yes.
And so much of the flowering wasn't even being thought
and
of.
the monkeys didn't have their heads on either.
That's exactly right. Look at what they've accomplished.
It's beautiful.
Of course, many people give up their entire holiday, to do this. And I understand that there were many out with the flu this year. So putting the last touches on was tricky because there weren't nearly as many people available.
There's Raul Rodriguez there, Martha Estes, Tim Estes' wife, owner of Fiesta Trade Floats. Raul is the designer who is Such an integral part of this. Michelle Lofthouse, Raul Rodriguez, there are many.
Magnificent.
Really nice.
Now, here come the Hawaii Pau Riders. John and Lita Cook are the marshals. They're riding in their 5th parade. They're from Oahu.
Ask me.
And the Pau refers to the women's wraparound skirt, which is made of 12 yards of fabric.
Ask me.
And fastened with 6 kukui nuts. No pins, no fasteners, no zippers. You get it? Okay.
A holy makahiki ho.
Yay!
That means Happy New Year in Hawaii.
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you very much. In Chinese folklore, dragons sometimes take on the form of fish. This is the winner of the Princess Trophy, most beautiful entry under 35 feet in length.
Ooh.
China Airlines gives us a taste of some ancient Chinese mythology on their float, entitled Adventures in the South Sea. Now, the scene portrays the bounty of the sea with a youthful mariner about to release 2 smaller fish into the ocean.
Not the ancient mariner. 20,000 carnations in shades of orange and gold were used to create the coloring on this little fishy. The water effect made with lavender and white kale, iris, pink rose, dendrobium orchids, and purple statice. And the large sculpted lily pad was created with tea leaves. I ate kale for dinner the other night. My sister-in-law's in town. It is so good for you.
Drive through, or did you go inside?
Continue.
The driver of the large float is communicating by headphone to the 2 satellite float drivers, telling them how fast to go, when to stop, and when to turn. Surgical rubber tubing is used for the ropes connecting the floats because, once again, it has to be of a natural material.
Oh, yes.
Very nice indeed.
Beautiful. We would like to thank Chevrolet and McDonald's, 2 of our good sponsors, bringing you the parade here on KTLA 5.
And the band you're watching, the American Fork High School Marching Band, they come all the way from American Fork, Utah.
Well, that is a drum beat and a half. 237 members in this band. And it's interesting that the percussion section is dressed all in black. That's kind of a novel thing I haven't seen before. And the flag bearers at the end of the band also. But I've never seen the percussion and the bass players are dressed in black. Very effective. John L. Miller, the director of this American Fork High School Marching Band.
Okay, here's the Valley Hunt Club under the direction of their marshal, Sarah Babcock. It was 109 years ago that the Valley Hunt Club founded the Tournament of Roses Parade, and it sponsored the parade for the first 6 years, from 1890 to 1895. The Valley Hunt Club originally consisted of 13 women and 11 men, whose delight was to ride the fields and foothills above Pasadena. Behind a pack of greyhounds, they were hunting jackrabbits.
Oh, think of what it became.
This modern-day group consists of 1800s era Landau carriage drawn by 4 Parisian horses. This is how it all started, folks. The Rose Parade started with this organization. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here today.
Wow. A nursery rhyme goes contemporary in this next float called Fantasy on Wheels, presented by the family of Freemasonry. The old woman who lived in the shoe has moved into the fast lane. She's converted her old shoe into an inline skate, so she's on her way to Venice Beach, I suppose. She has stopped soon enough to avoid hitting a skunk in the road.
Oh, my gosh. Have you ever hit a skunk in the road?
Ooh, no, but I've been right behind the car who did.
Oh.
It's just as bad.
Quite a few ingredients went into the makeup of the old woman's house. It's covered with purple statice, orange lentil, crushed rice, clover seed, farina, and straw flowers. And residents of the Masonic home in Covina, a resident, by the way, is writing.
Yes.
This is Dolly Burke. Now, Dolly, she's 99 years old.
Wow.
And bless her heart. Look, is she wearing a helmet? Yes, she is.
Yes, and she's got the wave down. She is getting
she's
down.
99 years old. Isn't that wonderful?
Darling. The children riding with her are all children of Masons from Southern California. By the way, the wheels on the inline skates, let me just tell you, are covered in orange lentils.
Oh, can we get a shot of her again, Rob, of the lady?
This is too cute.
I mean, yes, she's just so sweet.
Dolly Burke is 99 years old.
Look at
I
her.
don't think anyone older has ridden in the parade
Isn't
prior
she
to this
wonderful?
time.
God bless her.
Oh, we're happy.
All right. It took 67 years to get them back to Pasadena, but this afternoon, the Washington State Cougars are going to the Rose Bowl, and are they ever excited?
They were last here in 1931. They lost to Alabama 24-0, but their only other appearance in the Rose Bowl was in 1916 when they shut out Brown 14-0.
Well, the team is 10-1 overall. They're 7-1 in the Pac-10. They're ranked 7th in the USA Today ESPN Coaches Poll and 10th in the Associated Press Poll. They're excited.
Washington State, founded in 1890, campuses in Spokane, Vancouver, and the Tri-Cities, which are Richland, Kennewick, and Pasco up there. 20,000 students altogether. It offers 150 undergraduate fields of study, a graduate school, and an intercollegiate center for nursing.
And right behind their cheerleaders comes their band, representing the Pac-10 Conference. These are the Cougars from Washington State University. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm Bob Eubanks.
With Stephanie Edwards.
Hey, I want to congratulate you right now. Stephanie has a new television show. She and Sam Rubin go on the air tomorrow at 11 o'clock here on KTLA Channel 5 with a brand new show called Live. And I congratulate you. They could not have chosen a better person than you to do this.
You are a good man, and he means that sincerely.
I do.
Yes, instead of going home to sleep.
Don't forget, I have a television show.
Oh, and Bob is on the air, too, with what was that? And he's awfully good at it.
Boy, it's tough to get the plug in. There's a shot of the Norton Simon Museum. You know, museums are getting a lot of publicity in Southern California recently.
People are going. That's what's amazed
isn't that wonderful?
everybody.
That museum, the Norton Simon, was founded in 1924 as the Pasadena Art Institute. It was recognized in 1974 under the direction of, reorganized, I should say, under the direction of Norton Simon. And the museum is known internationally for its collection of European masterpieces, which includes works by Raphael, Rembrandt, Monet, Van Gogh, and many other favorites, too.
You can see at the left hand of the screen, they're adding on to the museum.
Yeah.
They're adding on there, it appears. They're excavating or something.
Did you go to drive-in movies when you were dating?
Yes, I did. I saw Psycho at a drive-in, and I've never quite been the same.
Really?
Uh-huh. Drive-in movies were
You mean you were with a psycho, or you saw a psycho?
No, not as it turned out.
Oh.
The invention of Richard Hollingshead Jr. Now, his idea was to create an open-air theater where no one had to dress up, and you could bring the kids in their jammies. You remember that?
Yeah. I took a girl to the drive-in movie. I said,
Not in her jammies.
No, I said,
No.
you want to get in the back seat? She says, no, I'm going to stay up here with you.
This is a tribute to the American tradition of the drive-in. South Pasadena presenting its float called Off to the Movies.
I get it.
You get it? Papa Buford, Mama Eleanor, Baby Patty, and I think Cousin Zebediah are on this float somewhere.
Farina and paprika were combined with to create Mama's and Papa's faces, and Mama's eyes were made with seaweed and whole white rice. This is the only float powered by clean-burning compressed natural gas.
Oh.
South Pasadena is the oldest self-built float in the Rose Parade.
That means those folks from South Pasadena do it themselves. More than 300 volunteers help to decorate each year, and some of the members of the community come from Boy Scout and Girl Scout troops and from South Pasadena High School.
And the first drive-in opened in June of 1933 in Camden, New Jersey. Pretty neat. All right.
It cost
the
25
possibilities.
cents, you know.
To get into the drive-in?
Yeah, 25
Back
cents.
in your day. Here's one of the most exciting floats in the parade, or I should say horses in the parade. These are the Peruvian Pasos, and this group is called the Possibilities. We've seen this horse many times before, but they were bred to travel many, many fast miles, and the Possibilities will entertain the people going down Colorado Boulevard. It's a magnificent horse.
Now, the theme trophy for best presentation of the Rose Parade theme, having fun. Couple of ladies ready for a night on the town. They're cruising on their broomsticks. It's called Girls' Night Out, and it comes to us from Dr. Pepper. Bats, black cats, haunted house, shaking tombstones, all of that. Oh, look at it.
Oh, there's a lot of animation on the float, all of it accomplished with the use of hydraulics, electrical motors, and computers. Now, the witches soar to a height of 28 feet as they pass over the graveyards and pumpkin patches.
Which is about half as high as we are right now. We're about 40 feet in the air, aren't we, Bob?
Oh, I don't know.
Expressive faces created with the use of paprika, cornmeal, and walnut shells. Ground sweet rice was used to spin the 8-foot-tall spider web. Isn't that marvelous?
And I would love it if they would slow it down a little, boys.
Yep. There's a bat there somewhere looking pretty fierce, and all of it was great, and it went by a little too fast. This is the Jefferson High School Band of Blue from Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Bob Eubanks and Stephanie Edwards, 109th Tournament of Roses Parade on a beautiful New Year's Day in Pasadena, California.
This Cedar Rapids, Iowa band is playing selections from The Music Man, of course, written by an Iowa boy, Meredith Willson. You know what he said about Iowans, didn't you?
No.
He said they were so by-gum stubborn you could stand touching noses for a week at a time and never see eye to eye.
Oh, boy. Now you got a whole state mad at you.
Well, Meredith Willson made it their standard, their theme song. Oh, they're very good. Ooh.
And they come to us from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. The Jefferson High School Band of Blue.
They're excellent. You see, you've got directors in between. 3 directors directing from the front, the middle, and
I've never seen that before.
Not 3.
Is that common?
We've seen 2 of them here in the parade often. I don't think we've seen 3.
Hey, and talk about walking backwards for 5.5 miles. How about calf muscles being just a little sore as they go down that hill?
Now then, the mayor of Pasadena, he must be proud this morning. What a day. Riding down Colorado Boulevard, the Honorable Chris Holden, and joining him is his wife Michelle, his children Nicholas, Austin, Alex, and Mariah, and the mayor's mother, Louise Holden.
We hope you're enjoying our magnificent Tournament of Roses parade. A very happy 1998 to you and your viewers from the city of Pasadena.
Well, thank you, Mayor. And we wish you and your family a very happy and healthy New Year. Pasadena is very, I have a lot of sentiment for this city because I went to Pasadena High School.
Didn't you deliver furniture here?
Delivered furniture for Lowe & Sons here in town, and then worked for many years at KRLA, which was 1960 to 67, which was here in Pasadena.
What was furniture like back then, Bob?
Well, it was made out of crates, you know. And then you and I have been doing, this is your 17th year, this is my 20th year.
Wow.
So we have
are
a lot
two
of
lucky folk.
Yes, we are.
And you can see no, it's a sign, it's an ad. The KFI is that shadow going over us there with an airplane.
Part of the million people. Look at this. Isn't this something?
I looked forward to this. The Queen's Trophy for the best use of roses. Now, the polar bears, of course, weighing between 500 and 900 pounds, they can be playful, but they can also look really glunky if you don't know how to decorate them. These are glorious, from family and friends, depicting bears in their native Arctic habitat.
The bear on the rear of the float towers 30 feet tall. How big that guy is. A small white flower from South Africa called Everlasting was used to give the fur effect on the bears. And although the polar bear's fur is white, it will sometimes turn yellow in the summer. Black Japanese seaweed, statice, onion seed, they've all been used to create his nose and eyes, and carnations and sweet white rice for his mouth.
And interestingly enough now, this won for the best use of roses. So although the bears are decorated with Everlasting, the South African flower, it is the roses that are interspersed that won this award for Kodak. Polar bears holding on to the ice with sharp curved claws. And did you know that it is the fur between their pads that gives them traction on the ice?
You know, another interesting thing, the last 8 years, about 100 hearing-impaired students from Cal State Northridge have decorated the Kodak float. And boy, have they done a magnificent job. Isn't that beautiful?
Eastman Kodak winning the Queen's Trophy. Gorgeous. Thanks to Weight Watchers and Enron for sponsoring today's telecast.
And the 2 Native Americans that you see, they're here representing Iron Eyes Cody. In honor of his father, 93-year-old Iron Eyes Cody, this is Robert Tree Cody. writing, and we're so happy to have him here. And Iron Eyes, if you're watching at home, we miss you terribly. Two people I miss really bad. Monty Montana, who's up, by the way, out doing rodeos again. Monty, come back. And Iron Eyes Cody.
How old is Monty?
Monty's 85 years old.
Good grief. Now, this is the Fantasy Trophy winner, Best Display of Fantasy and Imagination. Old Maid is the game being played here. A way of having fun for these two robust lady hippos.
I guess so.
It's called Parlor Games, coming to us from the Sparklets people. The scene is circa 1940s somewhere, and they're all decked out in their finest Sunday best, having afternoon tea.
And they're pretty oblivious to the cat's antics as he climbs the water cooler trying to reach the bird. Even the goldfish looks a bit nervous as he probably knows that he's on the cat's dessert menu.
Their outfits were constructed from carnations, mums, dendrobium orchids, and rice. The hats they're wearing are made of rolled corn, husks, pumpkin seeds, Vanda Cattleya orchids. It is darling.
You're about to hear some noise because here comes the Founders Trophy winner. The Cal Poly Universities of Pomona and San Luis Obispo celebrate 5 decades of float building with this year's entry called Countryside Joyride.
They have won the Founders Trophy for most beautiful entry built and decorated by the sponsors' volunteers.
Well, for 50 consecutive years, the students of Cal Poly have created their floats using innovative animation systems, and this year is certainly no exception. And the big noise you hear, all of those people across the street are from Cal Poly.
A cow bored with a simple life down on the farm, borrowing from the farmer's tractor for a little joyride. Everybody's very emotionally involved in this. Most beautiful entry built by sponsors, volunteers. Most of the animation is done with the use of hydraulics, controlled by a student-designed computer program. And this, of course, is the float that's joined, isn't it?
Yes. One campus does the front, and the other campus does the back. Cal Poly University is in San Luis Obispo and in Pomona. The cylinders push up the front of the tractor, and motors attached to the wheels make them spin. The float is powered with propane to lower emissions, too. Actually, it's the San Luis campus that constructed the front of the university, and then the Pomona campus, they built the front, the back half of it.
From Chiang Mai, Thailand, here are the Montfort College and Assumption College bands.
Stay tuned for a special encore of the 109th Tournament of Roses Parade, immediately following this telecast, right here on KTLA 5, LA's WB.
Welcome back to the Tournament of Roses Parade, 109th version of such.
What about that high-definition camera thing?
Well, we have a camera. We're using the high-definition camera. The camera is the future. That's all I can tell you. Up in our booth, we have a very special high-definition camera. And within a very short period of time, all cameras will be at that high definition. We will then have television sets at home that have high definition. And this is all compliments of Sony. Thank you, Sony. My boss is on the Newlywed Game, too. But this is the Sony camera. And over in the Elks Club, there are some screens over there now where some of the people are watching on high definition. And it's just going to be the future. It's magnificent.
From very far away, the camera can pick you up.
And it's just so, it's like you're there. I mean, it's just so sparkling and up close. It's just going to be...
Count the eyelashes on Bob's...
Count the hairs on my head is what you're trying to say.
This is the Montfort College and Assumption College bands from Chiang Mai, Thailand. It is their first trip here, and we welcome them.
Yeah, we do. Here's the winner of the Craftsmanship Award, Outstanding Showmanship and Dramatic Impact for floats over 55 feet in length. For their first entry, how's that, in the Rose Parade, Thai Airways presents Amazing Thailand. This is the longest float in the parade, measuring 80 feet. The design was inspired by the intricate artistry of Thai craftsmen.
The gilded arches are fashioned after those at the Grand Palace in Thailand, and the spires are modeled after the Wat Phra Keo Towers. That's an area of the palace housing the sacred Emerald Buddha. The first figure on the float is a Grand Palace dancer. And the classic Thai dance and hand movements come from India in the 16th century. Beautifully done here, don't you think?
Yeah, it's beautiful. The fearless-looking guard is called a yak. Now, yaks protect religious places and are classified as demigods because of their divine origin.
The 32-foot tall figure at the rear of the float is called the Garuda, half man, half bird, and he holds a serpent's tail in each of his taloned hands. The Garuda is a symbol of sovereignty. It is also the official seal of the Thai government. The costumes on these beautiful riders represent different regions.
Speaking of riders,
Thailand.
there's 22 riders on the float. The riders are wearing costumes, as you say, that represent all the different regions.
They're not having to work quite as hard as the jitterbuggers.
No, not at all. Beautiful. It's 80 feet long. Wow. Winner of the Craftsman's Award. We congratulate Thai Airways.
Quite beautiful.
And right behind the float, representing the national horse of the Netherlands, the fabulous dancing Frisian horses. Now, the Frisian horse, because of their brilliant looks and temperament, were bred to pull carriages of royalty. These horses look similar to the Andalusian. And riding in this group, he's Cybertron.
Goodness.
On his robotic steed. So basically what you have here is a span of 1,000 years as the past meets the future.
I see.
And behind Cybertron, you'll notice that there are 4 horses pulling a chariot in Ben-Hur style. That is no easy task. And that guy has his hands full. But boy, aren't these beautiful horses? They remind you of the Andalusian. Yeah.
They're shiny hooves. They polish them with them?
Frisian royal black dancing horses. Yeah, they polish them. They have the hoof dressing they put on them. Or sometimes we used to just put black shoe polish on them.
Did you? Beautiful. This comes to us from the Lutheran Laymen's League. They came prepared for El Nino with a rendition of Noah's Ark entitled Live in God's Promise. In the story of Noah, you know, God was angered at the corruption of the world. He created rain for 40 days and 40 nights. Noah carried 2 members of every animal species onto the ark, and some of the animals are here today.
How about that? The giraffes rise to a height of 24 feet, which gives them a good vantage point to spot land. The zebras down below are created with the use of onion seeds, ground rice, and hyacinth roots.
You saw Noah waving there alongside his wife, who, contrary to opinion, is not Joan of Arc. The dove of peace followed the rainbow, bringing Noah and his ark to dry land, you remember? And as the story goes, the ark lands on Mount Ararat. It is interesting that similar flood stories exist in many cultures. That was a wonderful little piece.
And here's the Jackson High School Marching Band. Happy New Year, everybody. The 109th Tournament of Roses Parade. This band's from Ohio, Steph.
And they're sponsored by Redicon. Redicon is the leading manufacturer of food processing equipment in the United States. They're out of Canton, Ohio.
And they sponsor the band?
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
That means they didn't have to sell a lot of pizzas, this particular band.
Play volleyball for 24
Bless their
hours.
hearts.
By the way, Stephanie and I did this parade under the direction of Bill Rainbow. He produced and directed this parade for many, many years. We lost Bill this last year, and I think we should dedicate our portion of this parade to Bill Rainbow.
He would have loved this one, and he'd have been crawling all over and under and around it, wouldn't he have?
God bless him.
And he'd have had us doing it, too. This won the Isabella Coleman Trophy for Best Presentation of Color and Color Harmony.
Party time, good way of having fun, and that's the name of this float from the Oddfellows and Rebecca's. Now, the party animal on this float is a hare, and he is in one big hurry to join the fun. You see, he's scattered the carpet and is about to knock the clock off the stand.
The face of the happy little fella is covered with pampas and uva grass, another form of grass also called bunny puffs. Bunny puffs.
Bunny puffs, I like it.
Status, straw flowers, and white carnation petals give the balloons their look. Very pretty from
the Oddfellows and Rebecca's.
Isabella Coleman Award. Now, may we please thank our friends at Lucky and at Chevrolet for helping to make today's telecast possible.
And let's thank the people from Phoenix Decorating for bringing this float too.
This is Dave Pittman's design, floral director Scott Lamb. Appropriately, it's entry number 57. It belongs to the H.J. Heinz Company, called Sorry Charlie. Neptune, the brother of Jupiter and ruler of the sea, holds his trident high as a team of 8 Percheron horses pull the chariot down the parade.
Oh, they're beautiful horses. These magnificent horses make up the Heinz Hitch. They are a tremendously strong breed, but gentle in nature. It's said that Neptune's golden-maned horses drew his chariot over the sea.
The symbol of his power was the trident. He used it to shatter rocks, create or subdue storms, shake the shores, and life it.
Wow.
Farina, pampas grass, sweet rice, and marigolds were used for his expressive face. It is a marvelous face.
And the detail on the front of his chariot was realized with the use of glad eucalyptus, the status. The seahorses are also helping to pull the grand chariot.
And Charlie, tuna, tagging behind on a sea snail there. A little outrider float. Sorry, Charlie. Very cute.
Well, after Charlie coming up, this is the 6th time the Shady Ladies of the Motherlode have joined us in the Tournament of Roses. This women's side saddle group, led by their founder, Jan Llewellyn, comes to us from Northern California. And they say that part of the fun of riding in this group is the fact that the ladies love the fashions and the lore of the Old West. The ladies are very involved in communities, raising money for various charities, including local high school scholarships and Children's Leukemia Foundation. And they just enjoy riding side saddle. They are the Shady Ladies of the Motherlode.
They're a great group. This won the Judges' Special Trophy for Outstanding Showmanship and Dramatic Impact. Brought to us from Fiesta Parade floats. You might remember when having fun on a Saturday meant going to a scary horror movie. This is called Saturday Matinee, and it is kind of a piece of nostalgia presented by ARCO. They are saluting the LA Conservancy and others who are working to restore LA's movie palaces. That's a great idea.
Look at this. Look out, though. The movie is done in 3D. It's very real. That guy, by the way, his name is Frank Garcia. He works with the art department for Fiesta Parade floats, the float builder. The music and the animation on the float are in sync. The computer programming was done by Joe Rando, and he compared it to recording a song with multiple tracks. The music is followed by layers of animation.
Oh, this is very good. Hydraulic valves are receiving messages from the computer. They indicate when each animation movement needs to be made. And these, of course, are live people underneath false heads, but having a great deal of fun, even though it must be kind of hot under there.
You know, the first Frankenstein movie was only 10 minutes long. It was made in 1910 by Edison Studios.
I remember Vincent Price in House of Wax. I saw it at the age of 10. That, along with Psycho, you know, really bent my life for the rest of all time.
This is a wonderfully designed float.
The Judges' Special Trophy for Outstanding Showmanship and Dramatic Impact goes to ARCO. And again, Jim Hine did the flowers, Raul Rodriguez the design of the float. It's spectacular. The stuntman, you mentioned that. The usher,
sure did.
Frank Garcia. And he's thoroughly bound into that hand, but also is good at stunting.
The origin of parades dates back to ancient times when tribes wanted to frighten away evil spirits or show military strength. Parades have evolved into events of celebration, and one of the most popular is the Hometown Parade, and that's the name for this entry from the city of Alhambra. This may be the first time that we've ever had a parade within a parade.
Yes, the stake bed truck, 1956 Ford F-350, decorated for this occasion. Riding in the back and playing some lively tunes is the Alhambra High School Dixieland Combo. It's a 7-member group formed especially to play in this parade.
And the carousel revolves with the use of a gearhead electric motor powering a chain which turns the carousel. It's very similar to the mechanics of an ordinary carousel. It's decorated with mums and status and all kinds of rice and silver leaf. It's really cool.
This from the city of Alhambra, which has been around since 1905.
Coming up, the new Buffalo Soldiers. Following the Civil War, these Buffalo Soldiers helped build forts, roads, guard the railroads and telegraph lines as they bravely served their country as members of the 9th and 10th Cavalry. The new Buffalo Soldiers are a historic reenactment group which portrays the contributions of African-American soldiers who served their country on the western frontier. The new Buffalo Soldiers have also participated in television shows such as Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman, the television version of Geronimo, and it's really nice to have them back with us again, riding in the 109th Tournament of Roses Parade. Those are the new Buffalo Soldiers under the direction of their Marshal C.F. Brown.
Now, I'm almost hoping that the parade might be delayed for a few moments, because this is the band that will scramble and runs into the audience and shakes hands if things get slowed down. It's the Yorkton Regional High School Marching 100. It was named for the Canadian Centennial in 1967, but there are actually 206 people marching in this parade. Oh, there
and
they
there
go.
they go. The band, they're just going to go out into the audience and shake hands with everybody.
They're so cute.
Isn't that
So
what a
friendly.
great idea? Huh?
They're Canada's only representative in the parade today, and one of only 2 non-U.S. marching bands among the 22 bands here.
The audience was very surprised.
Yeah, they sure were.
All of a sudden, the band leaves the room and runs out into the... Would you like to touch my tuba?
They drove 36 hours by bus to get here, and they're playing the premiere performance of Canadian Heritage March, arranged by a man named Jim Cool.
There's a great shot from our KTLA Channel 5 crew. As you know, we have the best camera locations, the best sound. I mean, when you watch the parade on Channel 5, you watch the parade. This is not for a promotion. This is to give you a true, solid event. Like this one from Fantasy in the Sea.
Fantasy in the Sea, the name of FTD's entry. Angelfish, seahorses, merbabies are all frolicking amid sculpted sand castles and coral reefs. This is magnificent floral design. A spiraling sand castle covered with sandstone shades of carnations and mums. The clamshells are created with the use of ironed corn husks and pink anthuriums. And more than 700 anthuriums were used for the tails on the merbabies. You know, the legends about mermaids and mermen and all of that, it goes
Daryl
way
Hannah's the only one I know.
Even before that, the Babylonians, the 8th century kind of thing. Angelfish, look at how shiny they are, covered with seaweed and marigold and carnation petals.
Very beautiful indeed.
These seahorses, who live in warm waters, you know, are covered in silver-leaf protea petals. There's a little merbaby. Tangerines and oranges are giving the coral coloring to the float. Very sweet. That comes to us from FTD.
Congratulations,
The
FTD.
Flower Folk. The Flower Folk. And Jim Hind knows how to do it.
Okay, these are the writers from the Autry Museum. You know, there's a lot of talk in Southern California about the Getty Museum, but I will tell you, for those of us who are interested in the American West, there's no better place to take your family than to the Autry Museum in Griffith Park. And this group is led by Phil Spangenberger. They salute the men and women of the West with a flavorful assortment of Old West writers. They represent the full gamut of the American frontier. And if you want to do something exciting and fun, take your family over to the Autry Museum. It will bring you back. It will show you what the Old West was about, and we should be very proud of having this magnificent museum. Along with the Getty, we have the Autry and the Norton Simon. We are very blessed in Southern California with museums. So go see the Autry. It's great.
Yes, it is. I agree with you, Bob. This is the tournament special trophy for exceptional merit in multiple classifications. You know the story of the tortoise and the hare, but how about the bumblebee and the dragonfly? This is the La Cañada Flint Ridge Tournament of Roses. It created its own version of a timeless story called High Flying Fun, and it seems a little more dangerous than the old version. Very sweet indeed.
A couple of airborne critters are racing to the finish line. The dragonfly climbs to a height of 40 feet and dive bombs the bumblebee, but the bumblebee remains slow and steady. An ancient caterpillar is ready to wave the checkered flag as he rides atop a friendly frog.
Now, this is the one that was designed by the little 10-year-old fellow, is
Yes,
it not?
it is. A little 6-year-old guy.
6-year-old.
Brandon Barberi.
3 propane-powered auto engines are on this float, 1 to drive it, and 2 to generate power for the animation.
I don't think Brandon designed it. I think he came up with the idea.
The idea, that's right. And over half a mile of hydraulic hoses provide pressure to run the animation. Can you believe that? It has been, by the way, dedicated to Shobha Srinivasan, who passed away last spring and who contributed greatly to the La Cañada Flint Ridge floats over many years. I'll bet our Bill Rainbolt knew it.
Congratulations, they won the tournament special trophy, exceptional merit in multiple classifications, La Cañada Flint.
Lovely.
And here's the winner of the national trophy, best depiction of life in the United States. A great place for having fun can be your own backyard, which is the name of this year's float from Optimist International. It looks like the kids in this backyard have built the treehouse version of a split-level condo with a penthouse.
The highest point of the treehouse is 30 feet, and that should be high enough to keep most people away. We're 40 feet, and nobody's bothering us.
That's for sure.
But in case some uninvited guests show up, the children have rigged up a few signs to keep them out. Who's that little darling little girl? The children in the float are all members of the Optimist International family. The wishing well is covered with Ming moss and poppy seeds, cedar and palm bark. The Grambling football coach is here. Retired Grambling football coach Eddie Robinson and his wife Doris.
He's just retired, and you know, he's such a legacy. What a great coach he has been. It's going to be tough to beat his record, I'll tell you that.
And you know, tree houses are back in vogue now. We were talking about how the pastimes of the past are
My
sadly
grandkids have
past.
one.
Have they?
Yeah, they go up the canyon, big tree house up there.
Yeah, I'm pleased to hear about these past pastimes and so on. And that's why they pay me the big bucks, because I speak so
That's why you've got a new television show with Sam Rubin. Tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock. It's called Live. Be sure and watch it on Channel 5 with Sam and Stephanie. Yes.
Thank you so much.
And now, Washington Township High School, the Minutemen Marching Band. They come all the way from Washington Township, New Jersey.
You know what's unique about this? I'll tell you in a minute. 5,000 flowers in vials are on their hats and other various places.
Wait a minute.
And they were refilled in each separate vial with fresh water at 2 a.m. this morning. This is a first, ladies and gentlemen, in this
parade. The band has flowers?
5,000 live flowers and seeds on the band. Wow!
Makes you not want to pause, doesn't it?
Yes, I could almost talk right through everything. The artistic director is Todd Marcochi, and what a great idea he had. Did they ever work for this? James Bowyer, director. They are from Washington Township High School in Washington Township, New Jersey. And you know where else they were at? The Embassy Suites in El Segundo. They lowered the air conditioning temperatures in the conference room there, the good folks at the Embassy Suites, so that while they were putting the flowers on, it would be cool enough so that the flowers wouldn't fade. These kids have been up all night.
Sometimes you know too much.
It makes me cry. It just brings me to tears. They're playing It's a Grand Old Flag, of course. I wonder if this has been a new thing with flowers on bands.
Next year we'll have the best decorated band.
Yeah. I hope they don't put cinnamon and flax seed all over their faces. That would be terrible for the embouchure. Orange lentils do not go with trombone playing, let me tell you.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you think of tulips, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Holland, of course. Capturing the spirit of the Netherlands is the city of St. Louis, Missouri, with their entry titled Tulip Time. Now, those are the famous Clydesdales. They make their annual Rose Parade appearance with this float. The Clydesdales originated in Scotland in 1720 when Flemish horses were imported to increase the size of the native draft horses.
Those magnificent
wonderful
beasts. I had my radar out. I could tell those horses were coming all the way down the street. It features this float. Some of the images associated with Holland. There's very little terrain in the Netherlands that blocks the wind, you see, so it's an ideal place for windmills. The word Netherlands, in fact, means lowlands.
And you'll find some windmills up in the San Ynez Valley here in California.
Yes.
The most beautiful valley in all of California. Canals and rivers form an extensive transportation network across the Netherlands, and barges are a popular mode of transportation for commercial products, commuters, and tourists. The tulips, daffodils, and all of the other flowers are imported from Holland, the home of the world's largest flower auction, by the way. 150 million tulips are sold there each year. Can you believe that?
Yeah. The puppy doesn't look like he knows if he wants to jump off or not. I hope he's secure and happy there. He's kind of half-haunched, half-hunkered. Okay. Now then, this is the Lathrop K. Leishman Trophy winner for the most beautiful entry from a non-commercial sponsor. It is the city of Portland, Oregon, which hosts the second largest floral parade in the country. It is second only to this Rose Parade, and each year the Portland Rose Festival Association brings us its own float. This year's entry, called Frolic and Fun, it is glorious.
And it portrays a mother coyote and her two playful cubs. Coyotes average 6 pups per litter, although only the mother coyote is pictured here. Both parents participate in raising their young. Coyotes help control rodent population, are found in locations from Costa Rica to Alaska, and they've been in Southern California since the Ice Age.
Oh, and the fur on these canines, who are so misunderstood, was created with uva and pampas grass and old man's beard. That is a black moss that is found on trees at high elevation. Old man's beard. Riding on the float is the Portland Rose Festival queen. Her name is Adrienne Williams.
Okay, we always look forward when Marshal Jean Riggs Tanner and her group show off their beautiful Appaloosa horses. The word Appaloosa, by the way, it means Palouse. I should say the word Palouse means spotted horse. And for those of you who write me letters when I say they were developed and bred by Chief Joseph of the Nez Perce tribe, I called Idaho yesterday. I talked to the Nez Perce tribe.
Yes.
I said, what's the pronunciation? They said Nez Perce, not Nez per se.
Exactly.
Don't write me any more letters. Thank you, Jean.
Now, may I say thank you to Miramax Films, Goodwill Hunting, and IKEA for helping to sponsor today's broadcast. And this international trophy winner is indicative of how great it is. The Philippine Revolution began in 1896, culminated in the Declaration of Philippine Independence in 1898. This year, the Philippines celebrates 100 years of independence from Spanish rule, and its entry is a tribute to the nation's centennial called Welcome to Our Celebration. It won the international trophy for most beautiful entry from outside the U.S.
The famous jeepney is depicted on the float. They're used throughout the Philippines for public transportation. They're actually converted surplus American Jeeps from World War II.
The Sarima Nok is a mythical bird which can charm away evil spirits. It's also a symbol of wealth, prestige, and honor. And Cymbidium and Vanda orchids have adorned this Sarima Nok.
The Philippines are noted for their native dances and songs, which are traditionally lighthearted and invite participation. The Philippine Constitution was ratified in 1898, and the Philippines became the first constitutional democracy of Asia.
Boy, that is lovely. Art Aguirre designed the float. Floral director Scott Lamb. Beautiful piece of work.
It wins the international trophy, by the way. Most beautiful entry from outside the United States.
You are hearing the strains of the Sumner High School Marching Band from Sumner, Washington. This is its first time in the parade.
Bob Eubanks, Stephanie Edwards, 109th Tournament of Roses Parade on KTLA Channel 5. We want to take this opportunity to wish you a very happy new year and to say thank you for watching our parade coverage. We hope you're having a great day.
They scrambled too. Did you see them?
No.
What has happened to these bands running all over the streets? Do you know that this band did a 5.5-mile march for its own city to fundraise and to show people in Sumner what they plan to do in today's parade?
Well, let's listen to them then.
Yeah.
An abundance of wildlife survive in marshlands, and the frog is no exception. Catching the Frog is the name of our next float. It comes to us from the International House of Pancakes. There are over 3,500 species of frogs. Some live in trees, others in water. Some spend most of their lives in underground burrows. Now, the frogs depicted on this float were created with a combination of Brussels sprouts, squash pieces, green beans, straw flowers, cranberries, and kumquats.
All good for you.
Yeah. The concept for this float was picked out of 20,000 entries from children ages 6 to 12 in IHOP's Dream Up Our Float contest. Isn't that something? And riding on the float is the contest winner. She's 11-year-old Amanda Lee, and she's from Richardson, Texas.
Oh.
She submitted her idea as part of a 5th grade class assignment at Aldridge Elementary School in Texas.
That's wonderful.
Thanks, IHOP.
Many scientists still believe birds are descendants from the dinosaur, you know. They became extinct, dinosaurs did, about 65 million years ago. But this morning, the city of Duarte, City of Hope, presents their version of a friendly baby triceratops. It's called Fun Starts Here. Look at those little sweethearts. Now, the dinosaur is covered with gourds, zucchini, squash, limes, chili peppers, and Brussels sprouts. And Philip Miller, Yuji Ogura, and Destiny Turner are 3 young cancer survivors who are riding on this float, along with Marissa Ayala, who was a bone marrow donor for her sister, Anissa. Oh, congratulations.
Yes.
City of Duarte, City of Hope. Wonderful.
These riders represent the official California state outdoor play, the Ramona Pageant. The pageant has been taking place for the last 75 years at the Ramona Bowl, which is a California state historic landmark. Now, the Ramona Pageant first appeared in the Rose Parade in 1924, and these riders are from the pageant, and they're wearing the costumes that they appear in this beautiful outdoor drama. Set in California in the 1850s, the Ramona Pageant was written and dramatized of the plight of the Southern California Native Americans.
The face of the green man can be seen in many gardens, and he's the product of European folklore symbolizing rejuvenating power of spring. We are looking at the President's Trophy winner for the most effective use and presentation of flowers.
This beautiful garden is filled with white orchids, blue iris, lavender, magenta cattleya orchids, heather, larkspur, and stargazer lilies. Now, the cascading water was created by using light-colored flowers at the top of the fountain and darker flowers as the cascade continues.
The green man's face appears in this garden. It's placed in gardens to bring good luck, we're told. Figures of cherubs are also popular in gardens, and the word cherub means wisdom. They're considered to be the second highest order of angels.
The long-tailed bird near the fountain is fashioned after a folk-tail flycatcher. China mum petals were used for his feathers along with bark and tea leaves, which were cut into feather patterns. Now, this is Unical's 62nd entry in the Rose Parade. And once again, they are event number 76, which I think is kind of fun. Heinz 57, and this is Unical 76.
Most effective use and presentation of flowers. Floral director Scott Lamb, Michelle Lofthouse designed it. This weighs so many thousands of pounds, and look at how light it looked. Beautiful.
You know, I just happened to look up in the air. There's about 10 helicopters up there pulling banners. It's almost like a traffic jam up above us. It's a SIG alert in the sky, you guys.
Now look at the wedge in which this band is marching. I've never seen such a thing.
The Alexander Jefferson High School Marching Band from Alexandria, Minnesota.
I must say, once again, a Minnesota band knocks my headphones off.
Scared me to death.
They took pledges from the community. They had a free car wash, 850 cars washed in 11 hours to get here. Tim Lehman in 1996 was the PGA Player of the Year, is a native from Alexandria, Minnesota. He attended this high school. They are marching in a wedge. I've never seen it before. The clarinetist out there in front it's fascinating. I've never seen this happen.
Innovative things the bands are doing.
Yes. Tom Haugen, the director. This band holds a marching band competition every year, Bob. I happen to know about that, being a Minnesotan, and they are famous throughout the Midwest for good reason.
You just want to come to Pasadena on New Year's Day to thaw out, that's all.
This is from Alexandria, Minnesota.
Hey, take a look at this. The earliest known pull toy was a wooden horse and dates back to Greece in 400 BC. Over the years, various types of animals have been used for pull toys, and this morning, Target Stores gives us their version. The float is called Follow the Leader. Look at this fun.
3 larger-than-life pull toys. Consisting of a bee, a cricket, and a dog. They're accompanied by a few friendly ladybugs. The ladybugs are connected to the cricket with 4-inch by 8-inch metal piping, and the bee and the dog are separate units unto themselves.
The writing on the floats, on this float, is 1996 PPG IndyCar World Series champion Jimmy Vasser, and also Chip Ganassi, owner of the racing team sponsored by Target. And riding along on the ladybugs are children from St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, as well as the children of some of the Target employees. Target is building the Target House in Memphis, which is designed for children and their families during long-term stays at St. Jude's.
She's a little sunny out there for that little girl.
What a cute idea.
It is a very cute idea. Again, Jim Hine and Raul Rodriguez brought us this design and floral work. My goodness.
Did you have a pull toy like that? I did. I can remember having a pull toy like that.
I remember other little children having pull toys like that.
Oh, you were poor.
I was a poor little farm girl.
Your mother bought you a tumbleweed for Christmas.
Carried milk in from the barn every evening. Pasteurized it on the kitchen counter. Had a little 4-H project that I'll tell you about another year. California State University, the Fresno equestrian team. Megan McGee, the head coach there. This is one of 5 schools in the nation that offers varsity equestrian at the NCAA Division I level. They provide scholarship opportunities for many women on this team based on their horseback riding skill, and they compete in open shows for English, Western, dressage, and combined training events. It's 12 riders only, and they represent more than 60 women who participate in Fresno State's 20th varsity sport.
How about that? Hey, a great way of having fun is a day at the fair. That's the name of our next entry from the Automobile Club of Southern California. And just about everything that you would see at a country fair has been included on this float, and there's plenty of livestock. Take a look.
Oh, a rooster announcing the float's arrival, covered with red carnation petals, palm bark, and croton and black tea leaves. That is a glorious bird. A couple of the livestock have won blue ribbons. The prize-winning heifer takes first place. Beef heifers are judged, you know, for their muscular development. Don't get me started on how beef heifers are judged.
Okay.
I know all about it.
The little lamb peeking out of the basket was made with wound balls of raw cotton, and no fair would be complete without fresh canned goods. A combination of various seeds and assorted colored carnation petals created the jars of preserves. Every year, the Automobile Club raises money with their float, and this year it will go to the Children's Miracle Network. Congratulations to the Automobile Club of Southern California.
Did you talk about the riders here? 7 children who have been helped by the children's hospitals in California, Texas, New Mexico, and Hawaii.
How about that?
You know, I wanted to have a calf for the county fair. And I said to my dad, Dad, oh, well, I'll have to tell you that another year. What he said to me, I'll never tell you. No year. Basically, I made an apron. Each year, the members of Kiwanis International volunteer 7 million hours of community service in 80 countries. For the last 14, Kiwanians have participated in the Rose Parade. This year, it's entitled Hayride.
Hey, there's Hugh O'Brien, by the way, who played television's legendary Wyatt Earp, is riding at the front of the float. Kiwanis International has contributed to the Hugh O'Brien Youth Foundation since 1976. It's also known as HOBie, and its purpose is to foster leadership growth in high school students. Over 160,000 young people have participated in HOBie programs, and we congratulate Hugh O'Brien.
Yes, riding along our 4 Special Olympians and Special Olympics Athlete of the Year, Bernadette Hanson.
Speaking of riding all the way from Minneapolis, Minnesota, here's the Zura Shrine Horse Patrol. This group has been together since 1947, and like many shrine groups, their motto is "We ride so others may walk." This group is not only ride in parades, but they're also the official group of volunteers, a mounted horse group. They help the sheriff's office in Minnesota, there where they're from, and they're led by John M. Tackaberry, their captain. They are the Zura Shrine Horse Patrol.
The music
This is great fun. Dancing to the Beat, it's called, or Drawn to the Beat is what it is, presented by Farmers Insurance Group. A few crayons seem to have escaped from their box.
Well, it seems a few crayons have escaped from their box and are having some fun dancing to the music the band is playing. One of the crayons, by the way, seems a little too shy to come out of the box, but maybe he'll get with the program a little later on.
Colors on the dancing crayons were created with parsley, flaxseed, statice, and various colors of chrysanthemums.
And riding on the float is the March of Dimes ambassador, 5-year-old T.J. Stallbomber, and with him is television and radio host Lisa Gibbons, who is our 1998 honorary chairperson for the March of Dimes ambassador program. I have the luck of doing 2 parades each year, one with Lisa Gibbons and one with Stephanie Edwards, 2 class acts. And there's Lisa right there. Isn't she gorgeous?
She's having a good time.
She's a very nice lady.
This, I need not tell you, is the Salvation Army Tournament of Roses band from Los Angeles, California, 129 total. Their 79th consecutive year of Rose Parade participation. They bring together musicians from Southern California and Caribou Hill, Vancouver, British Columbia. 98 strong in all and 12 timbrelists with Chris Mallett, director.
Happy New Year, everybody. We're doing our best to keep up with this parade. Once again, it's going down the boulevard just a little faster than it needs to. We'd like to be able to give you all the information that we've gathered because we have gathered so much.
But you know, it occurs to me that I might be able to tell them a few more facts tomorrow morning on KTLA beginning at 11 a.m. with Sam Rubin.
That's right. New television show for Steph and Sam. Am I hurt? Yeah, a little bit, but that's all right.
You'll be there, though. He's going to creep in when you least expect him.
I'm looking forward to it.
The Salvation Army Band. We wouldn't know what to do without them.
Here comes birthday celebrations.
Originated with ancient Europeans birthday celebrating, and it was in order to keep away evil spirits. They'd surround the birthday celebrant with family and friends and good wishes. This is on a birthday roll from the Michelin people celebrating the 100th birthday of the Michelin Man. Quite a birthday party. The giraffes tower to a height of 32 feet. They're clothed in white chrysanthemums and safflower.
And the Michelin Man, by the way, has 2 small fans inside his costume, which keeps him inflated.
And we could use it. We're warm up here.
Birthday cakes can be traced back to the Greeks who honored their people, the moon goddess. What's that fellow's name? Artemis.
Artemis, yeah.
Yeah.
Candles.
Honored Artemis.
And candles come from Germans who were the first to make a wish and blow out a candle.
The Michelin baby is also joined in for its celebration here. A great way to start the new year with a rolling birthday party down Colorado Boulevard. How
Very
about that?
sweet baby there. We'd like to thank McDonald's and Sony Pictures Godzilla for helping to sponsor today's broadcast. That's a whirling top.
That's a top. I used to have one of those too.
Lots of red carnations and white chrysanthemums and red brown flower.
You say you're allergic to horsehair?
That.
Well, I got good news for you guys. You can still own a horse because behind this float, you're going to see the American Bashkir curly horses.
Good.
Its coat is hypoallergenic. Discovered in the deserts in Nevada more than 100 years ago, they all have this wavy coat. Look at that.
Oh.
One of the funnier animals, by the way, that God ever put on this earth.
They are?
Yeah, they have just great personalities. Because when you get one of these horses, you not only own a horse, you own a friend because they are truly funny. There are less than 1,500 of these unique horses in existence.
Oh, my.
They're marshaled by Jim Washington. The curly horses are honored to make their 14th appearance here in the Rose Parade. And in the summertime, when the horses start to shed off, these little horses will actually shed their mane and their tail, and all of that curly stuff comes off. But they were, as I said, they were discovered out in the deserts of Nevada over 100 years ago.
Now, are they trying to find out how to maintain this breed? There are only 1,500 in the world?
And they're slowly, people like this group led by Ann Washington are going to keep the breed alive. But they have great personalities. They're just funny horses. They open gates, they'll open doors, they do funny things.
They'll take your shirt off.
Yeah.
If you're wearing a wig, you better be careful.
And beach in poker, too. The Curly Bashkers. I'm glad we could spend some time with them. They're really fun.
Ann Washington, the leader of the group there. Oh, part of the American dream has always been the opportunity to own your own home. This one wins the Director's Trophy for Outstanding Artistic Merit in Design and Floral Presentation. The Building Industry Association of Southern California, back on the rise, paying a whimsical tribute to the idea of on a float entitled Building the American Dream.
The three little pigs here have constructed their shiny new homes, and as the story goes, one was made of straw, the second of sticks, and the third of bricks.
He was the smart one.
Yeah. Rice straw, rice grass, straw flowers, and palm fiber went into making the straw house. Eucalyptus bark and various types of seeds created the stick house, and dried red pepper and ground rice and lettuce seed gave the brick house its look.
Aha! And the three little pigs are happy. And the wolf is going to have a hard time huffing, puffing, and blowing their house down.
The wolf is. Oh, look what they've done.
Yeah, they've solved the problem.
They've tied his mouth.
Good grief! With a little floral thing, poultice. The Building Industry Association of Southern California is the founder of Home Aid. It creates housing for the homeless. Look at those soft faces on those piggies. Floral director Rick Chapman, festival artist, did it. Raul Rodriguez built it. It's a wonderful little piece, and it won the Director's Trophy for Outstanding Artistic Merit in Design and Floral Presentation.
And our thanks to the Building Industry Association of America. They did of Southern California. They did a really nice job.
Wonderful piece. And houses are on the uprise. You know, I think 50,000
Oh, you ought to get into the housing business, Steph.
Yeah, no, thank you. I tried that, unfortunately, in 1987.
Okay. Now, Steph.
Yeah.
What do a mule and the Rose Bowl game have in common?
He asks me this every year, and I never know.
The mule was used to pull the wagons that hauled the dirt during the construction of the Rose Bowl in 1922.
Oh, yeah.
Not only that, Stephanie, my darling, but riding in this group from the American Donkey and Mule Association is a young gentleman named Bert Bonet, who happens to be 87 years old. That's not Bert, nor is that.
Nope.
No.
We're gonna
look. There's Bert.
He is.
He's 87 years old, and and there's a person who cares less about Bert Bonet. I can tell you that right now. Anyway, Bert Bonet, as a young man, drove a three-mule team on a dump wagon to excavate the site for the historic Union Station in downtown Los Angeles. Today, the mule is used for recreational purposes such as mountain packing and trail riding and even the rodeo arena. And we want to thank the American Donkey and Mule Society and Bert Bonet for joining us today. He's 87 years old.
And 69 years ago, would he have known he'd be doing this today?
Of course not.
Hi, Bert.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was talking about Monty Montana earlier. Monty Montana is 86 years old. He's booked himself into rodeos all next year with his trick roping act. Monty, come back. Ride the parade.
The man is nuts. But he's still good. He can still do it.
Oh.
Say, folks, you don't know perhaps that Bob is also a roper. You are, aren't you?
Yes.
You rope.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do that.
You see, he's humble now. But the fact is, he's a marvelous rider.
I rope like you play the trombone.
No.
Seldom.
He's very good at it. Say, this wins the Mayor's Trophy for most outstanding city entry from Burbank. Now, Dr. David Burbank was a dentist and a pioneer. He owned land in Southern California. Then he sold the land in 1886, and the next year, the town of Burbank was born.
How about that?
Now, for its 66th entry in the tournament, the city of Burbank presents Mama's Day Off. Papa agrees to watch the kids. It looks like a lot of chaos has ensued. He's fallen asleep on the job, and the kids and family pets are having a great time.
And the goldfish might be history before the float finishes this parade route.
Oh, dear.
One of the children is hanging from a lamp's pull chain, which could be pretty dangerous. This is one of 6 self-built floats in the Rose Parade. It was designed by Lynette Eklund, who designs characters for the film industry, and by Terry Harden, who is a professional sculptor. Terry trained 10 volunteers to sculpt the hands, the feet, heads of the bears in the floral foam.
Boy.
And each year, dozens of Burbank homes contribute organic materials to be used in their float. They've been in the float a long time.
Yes, and it's really a wonderfully whimsical idea.
Do I hear snoring? I thought that was you,
Yes.
It's coming from the float.
I hope it's not our viewers.
No. It scared me. I thought you were...
No, not me this year. What a darling lampshade, I must say.
Sounds like me.
Lots of coconut and onion speed. One spot on the Dalmatian is brown, and it's covered with flaxseed. I challenge you to find it.
Look at it, the feather. You see, he's tickling the bear's nose with the feather.
It's very
clever.
cute.
No wonder it won the Bears Trophy.
And pearl onions are on this float. I haven't heard of that in some time. Rhubarb, green peppers, kumquats. Oh, it's a cute one.
Well, it comes to us from the Burbank Tournament of Roses. They won the Mayor's Trophy for Most Outstanding City Entry. And rightly so. Listen to them snore. I like it. Here's a good band.
Yes, the Lincoln High School Marching Band from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. My gosh, they're in something of a wedge, too. Is this a new thing? It's like an arrow with a tail. That's the formation. We've got to look into this and find out if musically it is preferable for some reason. I've not seen this done before this year.
You're listening to the Sioux Falls, South Dakota Band, so why don't we do just that right now?
Arrangement of America, played by the Lincoln High School Marching Band of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. They are terrific under the direction of Eric Henfler. And the only red is the bright red on the drums. Isn't that beautiful? Gee willikers. Have won more than 400 awards in the past 32 years.
And behind the band, pound for pound, the strongest horse in the world. These are the Wee Wheelers and their miniature horses. Now, this little horse was originally bred to pull carts in and out of the mines, but has since become one of America's most loved equestrians. A miniature horse cannot exceed 34 inches at its wither. Now, the wither is the spot where the back and the neck join together.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I don't think there's anything that makes me smile more than in the wintertime when you drive through the roads of San Ynez Valley and you see all the little miniature horses with their little blankets on. They are just so cute.
Now tell the folks again, Bob, that no, they're not unhappy pulling this weight.
Oh, they love to do this. I'm telling you, horses, when they get involved in an activity, they just love it.
And it's not too heavy. They know what to do.
I mean, they are just having a great time. And, they would not want to do anything other than what they're doing right now. They just love it. And the drivers in this group come from throughout California and Washington. They're led by Lauren Parker. And this group is called the Wee Wheelers.
The audience is applauding. They love these horses.
And you see, when the babies are born, you can put them in one hand practically. They're just so cute. I love them.
Oh, now this is an award winner for the Grand Marshal's Trophy for the most creative design. A place where you always have fun is a circus, of course. Reese's Fine Foods, headquartered in Beaverton, Oregon, brought a little bit of the circus to Pasadena with their float called In the Center Ring.
For the first time in Rose Parade history, fire is being used on a float. Each time the ringmaster announces the act, he presses a button in his hand, which triggers the fire. The flames surround a ring with a 16-foot diameter. The float holds 72 gallons of propane to light the flames.
More than 13,000 dried marigolds were used for the Big Cat. 2 25-foot-long I-beams, each weighing 625 pounds, are holding up this tiger. By the way,
wonderful.
Studio Concepts, Robin Blumell and Sheila Wilson brought us this float. The ringmaster's name, by the way, is Greg Tamblin. He works for the float builder, Studio Concepts. Reese's Fine Foods manufactures and distributes over 400 convenience and specialty products. Isn't it their first time in the parade,
I believe
Diane?
So. Yes,
it is. Well, there's a little parade goer who's having a great time. Look at how beautifully they did the paws, the pads, the shiny claws. 13,000 dried marigolds.
Really beautiful, huh?
Greasers, first time in the parade, and they won the Grand Marshal's Trophy for the most creative design. That is a coup.
First time fire has ever been used. Wow. Audience loves it. Over 1 million people have lined Colorado Boulevard for this, the 109th Tournament of Roses Parade.
Do you know that the research... Oh, I'm sorry, Bob.
That's all right. I was going to want to remind everybody they're watching KTLA Channel 5 with the best camera locations, the best sound, and the best of everything. So we really appreciate the fact that you watch our coverage. We try real hard to make sure that we give you all the information that we can.
The Reeser family, by the way, began in 1950 selling potato salad in Cornelius, Oregon. Look at where they are now.
A little earlier in our parade, we saw Pinto horses, and now representing the American Paint Horse is the Painted Magic Rodeo Drill Team. This is a non-profit organization that rides to support handicapped children's riding programs. They're active in sponsoring exceptional children's rodeos, I should say, held in conjunction with the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. They also work closely with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and they're riding paint horses. Now, you say, what's the difference between a paint and a pinto? Well, a paint horse, the ancestors of the paint horses have to be either a quarter horse or thoroughbred horses, and it's quite a special breed, too. Oh, the Automobile Club of Southern California has come alive and helped us again. We've had quite a few floats celebrating birthdays and anniversaries in this year's Rose Parade. Now, the Simon Wiesenthal Center and Museum of Tolerance ask us to join them celebrating Freedom, America's Journey, which is the name of their entry in the parade.
Yes, this is with a tribute to the past and an eye toward the future. It's a space shuttle depicting blasting off into the next century, and it carries 8 presidents who have guided us through history, and people dressed in costume representing various professions.
The presidents portrayed are George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt, Franklin Roosevelt, Harry Truman, Dwight D. Eisenhower, John F. Kennedy, and Bill Clinton.
The billowing smoke clouds that emanate from the shuttle were created with chipped coconut, roses, and carnations. Now, forgive me, I don't see the billowing... Oh, yes, I see them. Of course, they're at the back of the shuttle. Forgive me, I'm so silly. The flames were made with red ginger, anthurium, gladiolas, yarrow, and roses. More than 1.25 million people have visited the Museum of Tolerance since it opened in February '93, and I urge you to go if you haven't. Right here in Los Angeles, there is also a magnificent Museum of Tolerance in Washington, D.C., and both should be on everyone's must-list places to go. And it changes. There's much going on that changes there all the time.
Floats from the city of Glendale traditionally exhibit a high degree of detail work, and this year's entry is no exception. It's called Tea at Grandma's House.
Darling.
And it recreates many of the warm and nourishing things that we associate with grandmas.
Grandma's house, in this case, is shaped like a teapot, made with white mums, orchid and carnation petals, and straw flower. If you look through the front door, you can see the detail work that went into decorating the interior of this house. Goodness me.
How about that?
Who's that little gal?
Well, the roof is covered with dried orange slices and sesame seeds. Grandma is Marilyn Weichman, who's been a resident of Glendale for 36 years.
Oh.
The table linen was created with ground yellow split peas, kumquats, and green tea leaves. And, of course, Grandma's house wouldn't be complete without grandchildren. And one of the writers is 9-year-old Beth Murray, whose great-grandmother, Lillian Farrell, rode in the Rose Parade on a horse-drawn wagon in 1910.
Oh,
How about
boy.
that, huh?
Oh, boy, that's just adorable. My own grandma, Bob, I must say, died on Christmas night. She was 97. She had a perfect day. She won a whist game, went home, and quietly passed away in her sleep at 97.
Wow.
And we all could only but rejoice. That is precious, a darling teapot. And here's another wonderful
Well,
float.
this is Mother Goose rhymes have given many hours of fun to children around the world. And our next float, the City of Torrance, has given Mother Goose the job of driving a busload of passengers to the library. Now, their entry is called Fun with Mother Goose, and it reflects the efforts of many volunteers working to improve reading skills in Torrance Elementary School.
A lot of detailed work went into creating the faces of the animals. Mother Goose's face created with coconut and orange lentil seeds. Weaved corn husk and lavender orchid petals make up her bonnet, and the cat's face was done with pampas, uva, and fire grasses. The little mouse on the head done with Ming moss and rice grass.
Love it. Nearly 1,000 volunteers helped to decorate the float, including the mayor of Torrance, Dee Hardison, and 300 members of the Torrance Youth Council. They did a good job, too.
Very dear piece of work.
I like it.
Very sweet.
Can you imagine what this audience, if they're viewing this parade for the first time in person? I mean, everybody who sees the parade, if you have not seen the parade in person, please do so at least one time, because the floats are more beautiful than you can ever imagine.
And so much bigger.
Yeah, and just more exciting.
And you can smell them.
And you see the people down from Michigan and Washington State with their mouths are just open when they see these floats go by.
Oh, now hold on. I got so excited I turned 2 pages. This is the Foothill High School Marching Band from Pleasanton, California.
223 members strong from Pleasanton, California, the Foothill High School Marching Band. They have some good music, and why don't we just take time to share it?
Then I'll tell you something amazing about them.
I knew you would.
I gotta tell you now, in 1995, this band played 5.5 hours underwater. Do you know how they did it? On New Year's Day? They played traveling 308 miles from Paris to London aboard the Eurostar Express under the English Channel.
How about that?
Good grief. On New Year's Day in 1995, and here they are now. Bob Moorfield, the director. You know, if I'd been playing trombone in this band and they said you're going to be underwater for 5.5 hours, I believe I'd have gotten sick that day.
They come to us from Pleasanton, California. They're the Foothill High School Marching Band.
And they're wearing kilts. I know that. The girls were in skirts. The men are in kilts. You needn't write us and tell us I was nuts. Pacific Care Secure Horizons emphasizes its commitment to preventive health and safe family activities on its float, Generations of Fun. Grandpa taking the grandkids out for some exercise in the park, and each of the grandchildren are enjoying their own version of the exercise today.
The granddaughter pushes her doll carriage along as she does a little inline skating. A skateboard is the grandson's choice for fun and exercise. And the youngest grandchild gets to pedal along with Grandpa and Stuffy, the mascot for Pacific Care's Fit Kids Club.
Riding on the float is a man who decided at the age of 50 to improve his physical condition. He is 72-year-old Jewett Pate, the oldest cyclist to compete in the Race Across America, a 2,910-mile bicycle race.
Makes me feel guilty. Also riding are the winners of a Why Fitness is Important to Me essay contest, Gloria Frias from Madison Elementary School and Selena Rodriguez from Cleveland Elementary School. Pacific Care Secure Horizons brings us this float from Charisma Floats.
And the gentleman depicted on the top of the float, I believe, is actually depicting Mr. Pate, who's riding in person.
Pretty nice.
That might be a first, too, in the parade. Having an animated figure depicting a person who's riding on the parade float.
Generations of Fun.
Western Group by Jan Eldner. Now, these are different riders from around the world and around the country. An equestrian group led by Marshal Jan, or is it Jan? Jan Eldner. He describes himself as the only Swedish cowboy around. Various breeds of horses are featured in these silver parade saddles. Very beautiful. Now, Bob checked with some of the equestrians and discovered that they arrive at the parade route at about midnight.
About
is that
midnight,
right?
yeah. They get there about midnight. You know, they have to park quite a ways away, and then they have to make sure their horses are all groomed. They bathe the horses.
Do they right there on the route?
No, not right there on the route. This is before they get here. But you know, when you ride a white horse, you know the horses are always, they'll lay down or they'll rub against something. But you, look, see all the preparation.
And they polish the saddles, don't they?
The saddles, you know, the Bolin silver-mounted saddles that are so popular.
And they're so well trained that they are used to the noises of the people, you know, accumulating.
And most of these horses are clipped, by the way, and then they put a blanket on them. If they had their winter coats on, they wouldn't shine like they do. So they actually take clippers and they clip the horses all over their bodies, except for right where the saddle sits. And then they put a blanket on them, and that way they can keep the horses. And it's really much healthier for the horses, especially if they're going to perspire during the year.
Really? So it's comfortable for them. They look so shiny, I can't believe it.
Well, on January 11th, 1998, the city of Bakersfield will be 100 years old. The city will be holding events all year long to commemorate its centennial, and to kick it off, the city of Bakersfield presents its float, Let's Celebrate. The concept for the float is a celebration for children of all ages, as we see young and old alike riding on their carousel figures. And also riding are decathlon gold medalist Rafer Johnson, there's Rafer, and Bob Mathias. Rafer is an active member in the Special Olympics and other youth programs in Bakersfield, and Bob Mathias has served as Bakersfield's congressman.
Is that Bob Mathias?
Yeah, right there, there's Bob.
I guess it is.
Yeah.
The float has 1,000 centennial gold roses on it. The centennial gold rose is the official flower for the Bakersfield Centennial. 300 of the rose bushes were grown by the students at Bakersfield College. Look at that marvelous lamb.
We want to wish Bakersfield a very happy 100th birthday. Pretty nice indeed. And thanks to you, to Southern California Toyota and First Plus Financial, for helping to bring you today's telecast. We couldn't do it without them.
These are the California Pinto Rangers.
They are. They come from Northern California. Organized in 1942, they're riding matched Tobiano Pintos with sterling silver Bolin saddles. Oh, no, I'll take that back. These saddles are made by Olson Nolte of San Francisco. And he made these saddles in the 1940s and early 1950s. And you say, what's the difference between a Pinto and a paint? Well, we talked about that a little earlier. The paint horse, all of their ancestors have to be quarter horses or thoroughbreds. And these beautiful Pinto horses are black and white Pintos and brown and white Pintos. Monty Montana rode black and white Pinto for many years.
Oh, we must continue here. You get caught up in horses and you don't know what's going on. This is the Arcadia Tournament of Roses Association, bringing us a nostalgic symbol of youthful entrepreneurship. We've seen some of that in the parade today. It's called Fresh Start, a bright-eyed boy mobilizing his lemonade stand. And that's a pretty good idea, have a mobile lemonade stand. All of his customers are making a fresh start in their lives after ridding themselves of cancer with the help of the National Childhood Cancer Foundation, which is based in Arcadia. Derek Moses, John Sandbrook, Susan Webb, and Amy Dilbeck are healthy today, and we are thrilled to announce them.
We sure are. The bright eyes on the boy were done with seaweed, blue iris, and white carnation petals. The lemonade was created with linaria and ground yellow split peas. Now, lemons, as you probably know, have been used in many products, including toothpaste. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Invisible ink. Didn't know that. And as a bleaching agent, California produces the most lemons in the United States.
That's right. In fact, the San Joaquin Valley grows more cotton than they do in the South. The agriculture in this state is just phenomenal.
Number one agricultural state in the United States, California.
The National Childhood Cancer Foundation sponsors this float from Arcadia and says that although a majority of children with cancer can be cured, more research needs to be done. This from Phoenix decorating Art Aguirre and floral director Scott Lamb. A wonderful theme. We approve.
And directly behind the Arcadia float comes
the Arcadia High School Apache Marching Band.
Stay tuned for a special encore of the 109th Tournament of Roses Parade, immediately following this telecast, right here on KTLA 5, LA's WB.
Welcome back, everybody. KTLA Channel 5's coverage of the 109th Tournament of Roses Parade. Bob Eubanks, Stephanie Edwards, and you're watching and listening now to a great band from Southern California. Let's listen to the Arcadia High School Apache Marching Band. 360 members strong. 1 drum major, 9 banners, 45 flags. Quite a group.
45 years of excellence in education at Arcadia High School and a terrific band. In fact, they won sweepstakes and music awards at the '97 Alamo Bowl competition, and they recently were given sweepstakes awards at numerous band reviews in Southern California. Tom Landis is the director. It's one of the best high school bands in the country. Precision there with that long shot.
Yeah.
Look at them. And we're in that little yellow and red booth right there at the bottom of your screen. Absolutely stick straight lines. Good grief. The city of Long Beach has 11 miles of waterfront, and in the spring you can usually catch a glimpse of the gray whales migrating north. This year, the city of Long Beach has titled its float A Sense of Wonder, and it portrays the northern migration of a gray whale and her calf.
You know, gray whales are considered the oldest of all living whale species. Their body structure is said to have remained the same for 10 million years. Orange lentil, carnation petals, millet seed are a few of the ingredients used to create the beautiful sea life depicted on the float. And the types of fish portrayed include a lionfish, a sicklefish, and a triggerfish.
Wow, this June, the Long Beach Aquarium of the Pacific is scheduled to open. That will house 12,000 varieties of marine life. We are so lucky to have museums like this in this state. It opens this June. It'll cover close to 157,000 square feet. It will teach about the dangers of polluting our oceans, protecting the coral reefs, and what happens when the resources of the ocean are over-harvested. You better make a plan to get to that new Long Beach Aquarium in June.
And congratulations to the city of Long Beach. As always, they bring us a very beautiful and unique float. They did a very nice job.
Always behind them, of course, come the...
my buddies, the Long Beach Mounted Police, the most prestigious of all equestrian groups in the world. They participated in Rose Parades for 50 years, riding their beautiful golden Palomino horses and their sterling silver Boland sandals. These ladies and gentlemen have traveled all over the world, including 2 presidential inaugurations, thrilling their audiences with horsemanship and beauty, and they're led this year by President Bill Martin and Captain Bonnie Easley. The men and women of the Long Beach Mounted Police, they truly are the class equestrian group of the world.
A marvelous way to end the parade, and we congratulate all the people who worked on this 109th Tournament of Roses parade. In some ways, I think it was the best we've watched.
We've had a lot of fun. You know, our thanks to Rob Fiedler, our director, Joe Quazarano, our executive producer, Marilyn Jones, who produced the show and did such a marvelous job, to Diane Rumbaugh, our researcher, and to Andy Cantola, who sits here and gives us cues and tells us when and what to do. And, of course, all of the KTLA staff and crew. Without them, we wouldn't be what we are up here.
And if there's anything you want to know that you haven't learned, tune in Channel 5 tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. for the live show. Sam Rubin and I will be there.
I'm Bob Eubanks for Stephanie Edwards. We hope that you have a wonderful 1998. Happy New Year, everybody, and God bless you all. Bye-bye.
This has been the coverage of the 109th Tournament of Roses Parade, hosted by Bob Eubanks and Stephanie Edwards.